Alright everybody, so first thing you noticed is that there is no VTuber avatar today. So I am officially gonna be waiting. What? I'm going to be waiting for my new model to come in. Still, this whole new year and everything related to VTubing, I'm going to separate from last year. And so if you don't see me, it's because obviously that model's not ready yet. But I can give you guys like a sneak peek. It'll be blurred out and stuff because it's like not final. But that's why you don't see the model. Second things, if you notice my voice, the inflection of my voice is different. It's still me, I'm still here. I just, not as much energy in my voice, but this is my more, I guess, more serious tone, more analytical tone. But hopefully you guys got some good stuff from that reward code. Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm gonna blabber a little bit in the beginning of the stream, then we'll get to some serious more business in a bit. So of course, thank you for coming, and I can't say hi to everybody right now, but hello individually to everybody. Deku's listening in already, but he'll introduce himself properly later, so you guys have an idea. You guys should remember him if you guys been on my streams, but otherwise I'll let him introduce himself later, okay? So in an effort to keep this stream as high quality as possible for those of you watching in the future, while also being considerate of those present, I will be labeling the stream by chapters after the stream ends. When analyzing the matches of two professional teams, we must remain civil in the comments, not from Ohio, so voicing your support for your team is fine. However, trash talking the other team or players or being rude in any way, shape, or form towards them will get you a mute and then a ban from the channel. I will be stopping the restream at critical moments, such as when the bans are in place, like the first round of bans, and then the first round of picks, the second round of bans, and the second round of picks. At that point, we will Deku and I will give both of our analysis and opinions on why they did what they did. They being the two teams in question. So, while constructive criticism will be provided at our own discretion, it is not intended to harm the player or team who is receiving that criticism, but they will get it. So everyone makes mistakes, but it is key to highlight these mistakes so that everyone can see how teams improve from their mistakes, or if what some teams do is they overcompensate their previous mistakes and they end up creating a new one. So just remember that there's 10 players on the field, two teams, and they're both trying to work together as a single unit. So, like I said, you guys have been warned. This might seem like I'm a more serious or like tone or whatever, and it's still me. It's just more like my nerdy side, if you want to call it that. But hopefully Deku can lighten up the mood. You guys know how he is, but I expect to have tons of fun doing this. It's just the way I'm getting my brain ready to actually analyze things. It requires a lot of brain juice to do what we're about to do. So this is how I do it. I don't know how Deku does it, but we'll find out, right? So after the first match analysis is done, we're gonna have a brief 5 to 15 minute break in which you guys can grab some coffee or water or chips, whatever helps you take a break from the analysis. And also it opens up a Q&A session. So if you have any questions regarding the stream or the channel or anything like that, make sure you save them for this moment. Other than that, I will be looking at chat only if someone starts to be toxic to any player or team. But otherwise, I will focus heavily on the analysis side of things. Hopefully you guys can learn a lot from this. I'm pretty sure I'll learn some things from this that I didn't know. So yeah, just make sure that I wanted to make sure that you guys know that I'm not ignoring you on purpose, but the analysis does require a lot of brain power. So yeah, there will be also codes, as you guys saw earlier. Make sure you redeem them. I'll repost them 3 times before posting a new code. And but yeah, make sure you redeem them in game. You should get prizes. I have no idea what they are or what's in them, but I know there's good stuff in them. Okay, so hopefully that does it for all the disclaimers. And that's about it, guys. Let Deku introduce himself and basically tell you what he's about and what anything. If he has any comments or anything to add on to that, then by all means, go ahead, Deku.
Brief, because we're all here for one thing, which is the game analysis. Most of you already know me, so I'm not going to drag on long. I'm Coach Deku. Obviously, as the name states, I coach. I deal with a lot of teams in multiple regions. I'm also an up-and-coming caster in North America, as well as that I like to do a lot of analytical and analyst work, which is what brought me here tonight to come ahead and zero in on some analysis for these big events over in M4 and these big games. So that's me in a nutshell, coach, caster, analyst. If you want to know more about me, the links down here in the chat. You'll be able to check my channel out. But aside from that, we'll go ahead and get right into some of this analyst work.
All right, it's cool. So I've already paused it. I can't seem to remove the bar showing the actual feed here, but the bans from Blacklist side are Fanny, Joy, and Eve, and over from Falcon we have Valentina, Wan Wan, and Glue. Honestly, I haven't seen either match, so I have a fresh look at everything. I obviously know I'm not gonna cap and tell you I don't know the results. I know who won and who lost, but nothing I say will be like, oh, Falcon has the better team because I already know they won. No. You're gonna get a real logic behind what I say, basically. But I have no idea why Glue is being banned. I've been literally gone since my last stream. I have not touched anything, but I assume somebody figured out how to make Glue jungle work. That's the only thing I can think of in my relatively small brain. There's actually nowhere else I can think him working. We tried to make that work at some point over here, but the meta wasn't there yet in the past, so I'm assuming maybe that's what it is. But Deku is way more in tune on all the esports side of stuff, so I'm gonna see if that is what it is. It is Deku, some Glue jungle or something going on over there.
No, so he's not in the jungle. He's in the XP, but he received another buff, which is like his fourth buff in a row, I want to say. So he kind of got like the Lapu treatment, and the XP. It's just a lot of consistent buffs, and now it's gotten to the point where it's accumulated to a point where he's actually viable. Well, not even viable. Now he's a priority. Like he's a priority pick or ban now on the professional scene. But it all came from those consistent buffs over time. A lot of the other XPs being kind of nerfed that you see in the XP class, but they buffed his damage right with the S1. So they added more damage with the slam. They added some sustain with that. So I think you regen like 3% of Glue's max HP. So he got some sustainability. They increased some more damage, and obviously items got buffed like Cursed Helmet, Dominance Ice, which are pretty much core on Glue. So his not only did his kit get increased, but so did the items he used as well to kind of boost him up to this position that he's currently in.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, I guess it's the region that the region alone would have done that. Okay. Other than that, I obviously know why Fanny's banned. For those of you not aware of Fanny, hello. One of the most broken heroes in the game. Obviously, very, very difficult to play against. We've seen her work over here in NA at XP lane and in the jungle. Joy has also risen to the top of the ban list because of her crowd control immunity, along with her crazy shields. Eve has come back around. She was gone for a very long time, but Eve has also returned with all the buffs that she got recently, along with Xavier. I've noticed that Xavier also got a lot of buffs, but he hasn't been banned yet. So obviously Eve is probably more of a threat here. Valentina, I think we'll always see, and when we don't see her, she will be a threat on the field, especially at this high level of play, because Valentina, to me, I like to describe her when talking to anybody seriously as the equalizer, meaning that you could have a very risky draft by drafting somebody like, in the past, I would say Minotaur, because Minotaur was not that good, but he's gotten a lot of buffs and improvements, so as an example, old Minotaur was very difficult to draft into a team because of his, downfalls. But if just for the ult alone, you can make some insane plays. Whereas Valentina can come in, use her ultimate. I believe it's called IMU. Deku, you can check me on that as a caster.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that is definitely one of the most broken ultimates, because you don't have to carry all the risks that, for example, somebody like Minotaur would take, or if somebody has some broken hero, with a broken ultimate like Diggy, you have that for your team. So I like to consider her as like the great equalizer in the game. Wanwan is banned because, again, at this high level of play, it's very difficult for you to avoid Wanwan's marks, for you to engage on a team, essentially, in that sense. Even though Wanwan is very weak in lane, if you have the right type of team to support her in her laning phase, she scales extremely well into the late game and can basically, at some point, even fend for herself. So the ability to do things on your own frees up, at this high level of play, frees up your other teammates to do other things on the field. So that's also critical, and Deku just gave you the rundown on why Glue is now banned. So unless you have other comments, Deku, feel free to add anything to that, but I believe that's probably why these three were banned right here. I don't think any of these were actually target bans. I think there's just, in general, why you don't want these heroes on the field.
Yeah, definitely general bans. And I mean, only thing is like Fanny from Blacklist, they typically always go for a Fanny ban, Fanny and Ling, just because of their Ube strat. They like to group up, and Fanny and Ling like provides that that split pushing capability and those cross map plays, and kind of can like nullify what Edward likes to do. They like to send him off. They like to like run that 4-in-1 rotation, kind of have Edward go to the opposite side of the map, clean up those lanes and like create pressure. But if you're facing off against like a Ling or Fanny,
it's not gonna
that's never really gonna happen, right? And then they can also get right back into the fight even before Edward can make that rotation. So those are like normal bans for them to kind of take out. So that Fanny's definitely normal. Probably see Ling taken out as well at some point.
Okay. All right, so that's more of a, well, at least over here it's more of like a typical ban, but I guess for them it's also a team ban, something they definitely don't want the enemies to get their hands on. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to skip forward a little bit. Hopefully I don't go too far, but we'll find out real quick, I guess. This is a restream, so you won't be hearing like the casters or anything like that. This is like a clean feed, so it prevents any kind of like, not like we don't want to hear them, but like at the same time we're trying to do our own thing over here. So, if you're wondering why we can't hear the stream over here on that side, it's for that reason. There actually is no audio there except for like somehow their ads audio did come through, so I guess I don't know. I'm just gonna skip forward until we get the actual picks. From what I saw, I believe Blacklist was first pick, so that'll go into the analysis as well. Let's see who they took. Okay. Oh, Nat. Okay. So Deku, I'll let you start this time, since I went first last time, and we'll just flip-flop between that. This is the first 3 picks on each side, with Blacklist being the first one with carry.
Yeah, and that carry pick, another one of those picks that have been rising up, kind of like the glue. That's been really high priority for a pick or ban. They had the carry pick open up to be able to pick that up, so they took it first, which is pretty expected, pretty normal right now. Xavier as well. He's rose up. You kind of mentioned him saying that you've seen him rise up a little bit, but just the Eve getting the ban. But Xavier is a high priority, not always on the ban list. Normally, like if you already locked in a mage, you might go ahead and ban out Xavier, or like in the second phase, if a mage hasn't been picked up. But definitely something a lot of teams like to lock in. And Blacklist did go ahead and do that. But I didn't agree with Diggy. I thought they took that in too early. I'm personally of the favor of like Diggy is more of a second phase. I know he can get banned out, but I've never liked the first phase Diggy pick, and I know over there they like to slot Diggy first phase, as you see Blacklist did, but that opens up a lot of options for the enemies to counter. And like normally it's more of like if they can, but we're watching 2 professional teams, so it's not really an if, it's more like a when or how they're going to decide to do that. And I think they slotted it in. I mean, there was already Faramis and a Lapu locked in, right? So you're going up against the Cult Altar, so you're not about to stop the Roam, and then the Lapu. There's nothing really Diggy can do when he goes for the back line, specifically Carry or Xavier. So I feel like that Diggy pick was kind of locked in with no real counterplay involved. So like in my opinion, I feel like they wasted their own pick. Xavier and Diggy is a strong combination, which I think maybe is what they were banking on. But as far as Diggy as an individual pick, there wasn't much that he brings to this table in this early phase of the draft. And then they responded with Natalia right onto it. Like there's no front line that's going to be locked in for them. So it was like a free pick for the side of Falcon there.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I don't see a reason for the Diggy pick this early on. Carry, like you mentioned, is okay. Now, I mean, if it's because it's rising, then I guess that makes sense. I would have thought combined with Xavier, if they knew they were going to pick that, I would have said something more mobile. Maybe like Claude would have been more helpful here. But if Carry's rising, you know, it's a prio pick for a reason. They know their own meta better than I do. But in terms of response, I agree right there. If you know that Faramis is coming and Lapu's coming, there's really no reason to draft in a Diggy. I wouldn't even draft an Xavier into a Lapu, honestly, because Lapu is just that strong. They're both really good at reaching that backline and dragging that Xavier out. So I really wouldn't like to draft a Diggy into that. I'd rather draft something that punishes for diving as a roamer, or something that can like take advantage of the downfalls of this team so far, which if you have Carry and you know you have Xavier already, something like a Rafaela, not even knowing that there's a Natalia, that excluding that, like to boost up your movement speed of your team, to dodge the Lapu, to dodge the Faramis, that is critical. Even a Mathilda would help here, in my opinion. But they drafted a Diggy. I assume that they probably thought they were going to take some high crowd control type roamer. But when you do it this often, you do open yourself up to counter picks. And Natalia will be very good at going around Diggy, because Diggy doesn't have any type of skill to open up to that. And like you said, at this stage, at this high of a skill level, all that stuff should be factored into your picks. So I agree with that. I think that the Natalia will have some very interesting pickoffs. Even if she doesn't have any pickoffs, the I guess the worst case scenario for her is that Diggy somehow traps her with his skill 2 and then uses his ultimate to, I don't know, stop Natalia or, give somebody shield. But if you can use Natalia to do that, to bait out Diggy's skills, you've succeeded as a roamer because now, everybody else on your team, you can draft heavier crowd control heroes if you wanted to and just use Natalia as like a type of like switch to make sure that Diggy gets locked out. All his skills are used to try to save one person or two people at most, while the rest of your team can come in and go in. Other than that, from like a separate type of more overall in general, so far what I see is Carrie is very single target, and Xavier is more AoE. So far the balance is that the side of Blacklist needs a little bit more of AoE damage and AoE crowd control, and at the same time something very, very chonky to frontline for them. But the side of Falcon, they have very good AoE and range with Lapu and Faramis, and they have the poke and the vision from Nat. So the only thing that I would think on their side that they would need is a fast rotation type jungler. It doesn't have to be like a tank jungler. That type of comp over there excels with like a faster jungler and maybe like a marksman that can do well from a distance. Somebody that can sit in the back lines a little bit more. A little Blacklist does. But does Falcon have coaches? Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully both of their coaches caught on to something I said and they banned out these people. Oh, Benedetta. Okay, that's a really good ban. That's actually a really good ban.
Of course, take out Edwards. I do think, and like you'll see it in the draft here later on, that Raphaelia pick, because I watched parts of both of these games. Zero hasn't seen them. I watched parts of both of these, and like at the end of the drafting, I felt like Raphaelia would have been a strong pick, and you'll kind of see where that could have came into play, and they would have been able to slot that later in had they not rushed that Diggy pick.
Yeah.
And probably would have went a lot better for them as far as like the team fights were gonna go on with these compositions. But like, yeah, you'll definitely see it as the draft like keeps going.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that Ling ban you mentioned earlier. I guess I could go. Yeah, I think it's my turn to go first. I kind of like already lost. I'm getting lost in the bans already. So yeah, the Ling ban. If what you said for Fanny is true for Ling, then obviously it's banned because they can't do their group up type strategy. Is that what they mean when they say ube or ube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically the ultimate bonding experience.
Okay, now I know what it stands for. So, the Benedetta was the first ban. Obviously, you don't want to let a hero like Benedetta on the field in general because she just has the potential to Uno reverse a lot of things, kind of like Wan does. So, that's a respectable ban at this stage of the game. It's understandable. She's an assassin, but to me, she's always been more of a fighter and a very annoying one at that. The ability that she has to soak up damage, it's understandable. This ban is completely. I agree 100% with this ban. The Ling ban, already discussed, makes sense. As far as the Esme ban, I'm not too sure about that one. Unless they are going to be, I don't know, maybe drafting somebody with a lot of shields on their side pretty soon. I don't see a reason for the Esme ban on a Falcon side, but... or maybe they were thinking of perhaps drafting the Harith, which is probably why Blacklist responded with the Harith ban. And if what I said earlier applies, which is that they wanted a more faster type of jungler, Harith definitely fits the bill. He has the range, he has the mobility, he has the jungle clear speed with all the recent buffs, and he has a lot of the early game damage that he used to lack. So that Esme ban could make you think that they're going to take somebody with a lot of shields, such as Harith. So I understand the logic behind banning that Harith. Especially since only jungle picks and the gold laner are left on the Falcon side. But I would like to get Deku's opinion mostly on the Harith ban. Do you think that one's justified? Do you think that one was the best choice here? Or is it better to maybe have banned somebody else on the side of Blacklist?
I definitely think it would have been better to ban someone else. And I think a mid lane ban would have been better. And you'll see again, like once the draft unfolds a little more, you see the pick that comes out from the side of Falcon. It definitely could have got taken out right there. The Ling definitely had to be taken out. Fanny and Ling are like I said, they're going to be staple bands for them. They're always going to take them out just because of the way they play. It's kind of like a necessity to get them out of the way, or you kind of fall at like the mercy of Falcon, a team like that, of not drafting the Ling or Fanny. But we've seen Blacklist up against those picks and how it's kind of like torn them apart. So it's definitely a band that's going to get picked up. But that Harris band, I felt like was just, I don't know, kind of wasteful. Like I get it. It was like a target band because I do believe Zipex, the gold laner for Falcon, I think Harris is one of his signature picks. From what I understand. So like I can understand as far as targeting a ban out, but I do feel if they would have went for the mid lane, because with the Xavier, right?
Yeah.
And the mid lane still needed for the side of Falcon and the composition they have as far as like a dive, Kagura and Lunox are like the first two mages that come to mind that kind of cripple Xavier in the mid lane. And they both fit that composition that Falcon has. And I feel like if they would have went for one of those bands, it helps their mid lane a lot more, because it's just, I don't know, you don't enable the mid pick if you let both of those picks walk out. Even something like a Lilia, like there's like 3 mages.
Yeah, Lilia. I was about to say Lilia.
Because I don't know, like, yeah, the Harris pick was kind of a waste. Zips was gonna go for something out of the normal picks, regardless. So I just don't think that target ban was a good idea, but they went for it, and I feel like they paid for it in the second half of the draft.
Okay, well, I mean, the Kagura definitely can force proc a lot of Diggy stuff too. There's so many ways to counter the Diggy pick here, so I'm not surprised. I think the Harith pick is more of like a panic ban from the Esme. If anything, I may have banned a marksman if it were me personally, but again, I'm not on the, in terms of like Haji and Edward, I'm not sure if banning out the Harith would have been a good idea. I'm sure that they could have drafted in something to even perhaps aid in countering shields, like even a Baxia, for example. They could have let that Harith go, but let's see what they pick. Let's just go ahead and see what they pick. I'm not sure what they're gonna pick, but we can find out real quick. Oh boy. Nice. Yeah. How much more do they get? Like 30 seconds each? Okay, let's go that far. See how I get.
I mean, they used their claw.
Oops. That was a little bit too much, Zero.
Damn, right into the match, huh?
Yeah, right. Just straight up right into the match. Just screw everything else. I hate that they don't show the heroes they had like right there, like in there. It just shows. I mean, I guess you want to see their faces too, but come on. At least tell me the picks. There we go. Ah. There we go. Okay. So there's the Martis. They just traded. Oh, there is the Baxia. So they're gonna draft Baxia anyway. So what? Why'd you ban Aerith?
But you see, okay, so you see with this composition, now that they're locked in, where that Raphaelia could have came in.
Yeah.
So much use.
Yeah. Okay. So constructive criticism wise, jungle pick. In my opinion. Actually, no. It's not my turn to talk. It's your turn to talk, Deku. Like, I'll let you have it. I'll let if you're, I won't go off my mind. Don't worry about it. So yeah, let's hear Deku's opinion on these final picks right here. The final picks and also like the overall matchup. Why you think, if you didn't know the results, why you think each team or which team has a better draft in general, etc., etc.
Well, without a doubt, I mean the draft goes over to the side of Falcon. Even with the Natalia pick, like that sneaky pick, we seen Blacklist, and I talked about that in some servers with people. They get discombobulated a lot against Natalia. NXPE pulled it out against them with that neck pin comp with the Saber and Dairoth. Blacklist had no answer, and it was kind of like a stomp really from NXPE. And even the jungle pick, I don't feel like the jungle pick was the best. Like at the time when they slotted Boxia, there was no reason for a Boxia. Again, there had only been, well, I think Martis got locked in after that first phase, and then Boxia gets picked up in response.
There's no real
And there's
heals.
there's no heals. There's no reason, right? So like the jungle and the roam slots for both, in my opinion, both of them were just like kind of wasted. I see Exio mentions Akai right here in the chat, and that's what I also thought looking back. Like, why not just take the Akai, right? Akai would have been great here. You can break the formation because they're gonna have to form up like on the side of Falcon with this dive.
The
Because they have
dives.
Param, right? They have the Cult Altar. They're gonna group up. But if you have Akai, right, with that heavy spin, you can break that formation up.
And you have Diggy too, so I agree.
Yeah, that as well. And then and even if they didn't have Diggy, like they would have had Raphael. Like if either one of those picks gets swapped to something else, the draft evens up a little bit more. I do feel like maybe that Uranus was kind of a bad pick. I don't really know.
I can see why. The Uranus was maybe for the Natalia to reveal her a little bit more often, but you stuck in XP lane. That's not really, he doesn't really do that until past mid-late game. So I can see the logic behind it, but not really.
They just didn't, I don't know. Their draft, they just let a lot of picks kind of, like I said, those two picks, like in that roam and that jungle, like there's no use from them, right? There's no usage from them. I don't know really what the game plan or the goal was. Definitely would have liked to see an Akai or maybe see Raphaelia, like I said earlier, being locked in at least in the roam or an Akai in that jungle. I feel like they kind of flopped those and they definitely got beat out by that. And I mean, shout out to Falcon. They took picks.
Like, see his smile?
Like I mean, I think they feel confident. They took like an unorthodox draft, which Blacklist struggles against. Blacklist is definitely like a systematic team. I mean, even by their drafts, like these aren't ideal picks, but it fits their system, and that's what they want to do. But if a team like Falcon comes on and they like kind of beat out as far as the draft, like a composition like the one they took, a lot of dive, a lot of disarray, something that can really throw Blacklist off in those fights and have that early aggression, which
the
is
chaotic
what
side.
Is never gonna be. Yeah, the chaotic. Like you have to throw chaos at Blacklist. And that's kind of what Falcon did, and they executed on that as far as their win conditions. And the Natalia pick, I think, is a really super crutch that people didn't really talk about a lot. Like a pick like Natalia throws off Blacklist a lot, right? Like it punishes them on rotations. It's a lot of early kill pressure, even up against this Diggy here. Like Diggy is good at harassing lane, but if you have a Natalia hovering it, Diggy is just as free as the marksman, right, in the gold lane up against Natalia. So like, it was already a nullified pick, and then you enter in a Natalia to also like double up on that. It was an ugly match from the start.
What you said about Natalia throwing chaos at teams also applies to the Valley. That they also are very susceptible to a Natalia pick. I might say that because that's the only like team I've watched often enough, but that also throws them off heavily. From M2, but other than that, I think honestly, in terms of weird picks, I would throw some chaos back, and maybe slot it a Hylos as the jungler. It's a little bit more copium, not to it's not to reveal the Nat. It's not to reveal the Nat or anything, but it's a little bit more of a response to any type of like marksman if they ever drafted one. I see there is none, but any type of like attack speed marksman with a new dominant size, or in this case it works for Martis as well, but it's a little bit more copium, but it would have given people that I forget the name of his ultimate, but Hylos ultimate could free them up a little bit to reposition slightly.
That glorious pathway, yeah. They
even if one way, but it would have made the difference in this match with just the jungler alone. If they didn't feel like the Akai was fit, at least Hylos would have done a great job actually as a jungler.
Hylos would have been great, yeah. Now that you mentioned it, and they definitely could have pulled it. Wise has used Hylos jungle before. It still fits in the tank, and that utility pick. It definitely counters out Natalia. Natalia can't bully the jungle. And it counters out Martis, right? And up against Lunox, any pick like a Lunox or a carry, defense wise, you're not really gonna find much, and your kind of only option is like that high HP
Yep.
pool, and that's exactly what Hylos would have brought. So it would have been that definitely would have been a great pick.
Yeah,
For them
I
to
was
go ahead and
thinking maybe
swap in.
Hylos for jungle. But for XP, it's a little bit more difficult to choose something there. But since, like I said, they needed chonky boys, they actually got two chonky boys here, but not the right kind. And another one that would have been great, in my opinion, and would have actually done not too bad into a Lapu Lapu, which I assume is the XP laner here, unless they pulled some weird stuff off and ran Martis XP, or I'm not sure yet, but if they would have switched out the Uranus for a Grok and had a Hylos and a Grok, that would have solved 99% of their problems, because it's not as good as a response as a Kai, but it's more instantaneous, and a lot of the value that Grok brings can be exploited with Xavier's Ring of Light, his skill 2. I'm not sure if that's the proper name for it, but I'm pretty sure if you had drafted a Hylos and a Grok in any team in general, that is a very, very powerful combination of heroes. There's almost no way to deal with it. I'm not sure why I haven't seen it pop up more often. Even as a roamer, Hylos roam, Grok XP, whatever, any combination or variation of it is very strong. Here it could have been exploited, but Grok can definitely benefit from those like engages when when Faramis is coming in with his cold altar, when Lapu's diving in, Natalia's going in your backline, and Martis is ignoring everything. When everybody's committed, at that moment, those crucial ultimates from Grok could be the little like nick in time that it just allows people to reposition, use Hylos's ultimate to reposition, do whatever they need to do. But I think that along with Diggy, if you had Grok, Diggy, and Hylos, this would have been a way better draft, to witness. At this moment, regardless, like I said, of knowing the results of the match, I do see why Falcon won, because there's not much AoE coming over here from the side of Blacklist. You might say there's not much AoE over there as well on the side of Falcon, but the lack of AoE there is okay because of how fast, how mobile those heroes are. Over here on this side, it's not so much that way. It's not like their single target DPS is super high like all of those over there. Lunox, super high DPS for single target. Martis is the same way, or a finisher at that. And Natalia, same thing, burst. Lapu burst. If Faramis is built the right way, burst. Over here, you kind of have that little like tick damage with Diggy, Baxia, and Uranus. Maybe Carry is the only single target burst, but and then maybe Xavier in the late game. But other than that, I don't see much of a balanced damage output. When you're drafting a lot of single target bursts, they better be mobile, like what Falcon did. But other than that, I stick by my guns. I say Hylos and Grok would have been my choices there. Even not knowing, like I said, not knowing the enemy's draft, those would have been two solid picks. Would have been standard across the board, no matter what the enemy picked. Those are two very strong picks to take.
Definitely. But now we see that, we could definitely go ahead and now you can see it unfold. And see how that played out.
Let's see how it goes. I think we'll watch it, and like I said earlier, we're gonna pause only at team fights. Deku's used to casting, so I'll let him take over for the most part. Not like the typical casting where like the casters do, but more of like an analytical type of casting, more of the reasoning behind why people do things. I have more confidence that Deku can pull this off more than me, but I will pause it to give any commentary if Deku asks for it. Other than critical team fights or engages, that's when we'll pause. We might even rewind a little bit and such. I'm gonna move the Discord stuff as well so that we can actually look at the map without our names over everything. So let me do that for you guys real quick. Come on, Discord. I'll put us down here somewhere. There we go. All right. Deku, I also streamed on Discord, so you can see like a more live version of this. Is it working?
Oh, I could go look at that. Yeah, I was just looking on YouTube.
Yeah, then it won't be delayed at all for you.
Definitely, I'll make that switch real quick. It's just showing black. It's the black screen.
Oh, hold up. Is this better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to. You're gonna see like maybe flashes of a black screen, but that's just because I have to like click on that screen for it to show it for some reason. Okay. Should be fine. There you go.
Yep, we're all good now, and I mean, yeah, like this is probably the best part of this pick and where it ends. Wise be able to clear it just like a little faster than that Martis there, and that's literally about it. And right now, you can already see, look, like, and we talked about this in the draft thing. How I was saying like the Diggy pick is always going to go to gold lane and kind of harass, but there's an Natalia, right, able to add that same amount of pressure, if not more, to the Diggy, right? The kill pressure alone kind of nullifies Diggy's presence. He already didn't have any counterplay, and now the one thing he had left, which is kind of harassing Zipex on the Lunux, is kind of out the window too, because now you have to worry about Natalia popping up to come, go for those engages in the lane. And that kind of just happens repeatedly over and over in the gold lane, which is why there's not going to be any profit from Blacklist. I don't even think Black touched the gold tower shield the whole first 5 minutes of the game. I think Oheb like missed completely on the gold tower shield.
Wow. Oh my goodness. The Martis is out for blood.
Yeah, this whole map is unsafe for the side of Black. And the Roamer specifically. I mean, there's a Martis running around. There's a Natalia running around. There could be like a random Faramis coming through with a Shadow Stampede to pull the Diggy. Like, it's not a good time.
This is way more terrifying in match than in draft. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely. With all the stakes, definitely.
Holy crap.
You definitely can feel the pressure. But yeah, you can see it. I mean, the grouping up. This I didn't understand. I did not understand why Black wanted to contest this. Like, you can literally see their composition, right? You have a Boxy, you have your Honest up here, a Diggy, and your
There's absolutely no way. No.
There's no way.
No.
They commit this. They commit this. They don't back off. They commit this.
When you know your team has the weaker team fight potential, and also there's a Nat able to scout out your backline. You have a Martis that can capitalize on kills, and you have a Natalia able to lower people down to a place where Martis can benefit, and you also have the Lapu, who's probably level 4. Yeah, he is level 4 by then. Yellow Flash is already level 4, so more that backline dive, and there's a lot of damage that comes from Lapu in the early game. So anything that you have is going to get wiped and decimated, and then, probably most likely fed into the Martis, if not the Nat. Both of which are not good things for you. In terms of relevant team fight ultimates and stuff, definitely Diggies and maybe Xavier's are like the only two that are very valuable to team fights. Baxius can be too, but those two are the most important. And Edward, where is he? Oh, there he is. He's right here. He's already kind of sort of low. He's already kind of low.
They already have the HP advantage for the side of Falcon, so this was already a bad take.
Oh my god!
Layers to it is like why it's a bad contest.
Other than that, Xavier's mid. Look at where Xavier is at. He's not ready to help out either. He just cleared mid. I can see the little mini map, but it would be too risky to pull this off, in my opinion, as well. Like I agree 100% with that sentiment. You have too many people on that side with too much damage too early to let that go to a Martis. Just let that turtle go. It would have been better to just probably reroute all the efforts to Lunox, since she's you can literally click in game at this high level of play. You can click the little thing and see what level they are. That Lunox is level 3. She doesn't have her light ultimate ready to escape danger or anything like that. Maybe her flicker can save her, but at least you would feed Oheb on the carry a little bit more, in my opinion, But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely would have been the play to make, but nope. You're gonna see them commit for this, and obviously, just looking at the draft and the setup alone, you can kind of tell where this is gonna go. which is why it made no sense that Blacklist went for this. I
Wow.
mean, it's a losing battle from the start. I think they find one kill. They find a kill to trade this out, and that's it. So they lose Turtle and they give up kills as well. First blood going to Falcon. That's additional gold. Naomi picking up the kill, and I think Naomi's the one that gets traded out there.
Okay, that's a
Yeah,
roamer though. That's fine.
yeah, exactly. Like they didn't even get a good. Like there was no trade of
Okay.
value, and then obviously Oheb's getting beat up in gold lane, which is where they should have been to relieve that pressure. And
Okay,
then
so yeah, you agree with that one then, yeah.
Yeah, like there was so much wrong from the draft and in the gameplay from Blacklist.
In the next match, which we obviously can't see yet, but in the next match, I obviously, like I said, I know that Blacklist lost, but I assume I'm gonna already go ahead and call it out. I assume it's because they overcompensated for something from this match, and they ended up exposing themselves to another weakness that Falcon probably took advantage of. But I don't know yet.
And they more or less kind of got beat by the same thing. I mean, Falcon kind of went for something to kind of throw them off, some a little early pressure, but yeah, I mean, it just translated from this match, which is this is part of the group, and then the second match was the tiebreaker because it was like a 3-way tie from day 3.
Okay.
You see, even this aggression here from Wise, like I don't even think that's something they should be wasting time because they don't you don't win out here. Like you don't
No,
win out there.
all
That's
efforts.
not their condition.
Yeah, all efforts should have gone to carry, in my opinion, as much as possible. I understand that, Wise has to maintain jungle and, not to get, like, out jungled, but at the same time, you need to help this carry out the most. Because nobody else is going to carry the damage on this team, really.
Definitely not, because they're just gonna struggle without Oha. But I mean, they didn't play to, like I said, they didn't play to the win condition.
Please tell me they don't go for the turtle. Okay, yeah, they don't. Okay, good. I mean, that's good. They learned from their mistakes, at least in the second turtle.
But they lose out, and what's gonna happen here is literally what you pointed out the first time is Lennox not having 4, but now she,
now she has it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a beautiful play from Zipex. Like this was really ballsy to even go for the wave clear, but there goes the Brilliance ult. So like, they don't get anything really off of this. They don't find a kill. They don't find the trade, and Lennox like survives this and clears the wave, so they can't even take that tower down. So like, there's still no trade from Blacklist.
That is crazy.
And that was a great play. I don't know if he cleared that whole thing, was able to flicker out the way of the dawning light. Brilliance on the Diggy Bomb, he played that really well.
There's the Martis going ahead and okay. So from this point out, we could watch the match, but honestly, at this point, this right here, pretty much, if I were, I mean, everybody likes to be hopeful for their own team, but from an analytical standpoint, it would be almost impossible to come back from this at this point already. This is the point where most people could call it, and if it's me, I'm basically gonna say at this point, I'm calling it right there. That's the point where there's not much you can do. The only way that Falcon could mess this up is if they mess up a Lord type of engage, or if they lose the Lord somehow to Wise. But I mean, this is high level play. It's highly unlikely that they will make mistakes, once in game. It's the drafting where most teams lose, and which is clearly what we saw. I don't doubt for a minute that either of these teams is lesser than each other in terms of like how good they manage their heroes, their rotations, or anything like that, except for small mistakes here and there. But in terms of most of these matches at this high level of play, it's all in the draft most of the time, at least like 80%, and I'm being generous there, or I guess you could say conservative there on the draft part. But that is why sometimes it pays to listen to people who have like a outside point of view on your stuff, because they can see things that you might not be willing to accept in a sense. But after this, it's just a stampede. I can tell already. They just benefit, and Martis is the right kind of hero to benefit from that kind of stuff. You can't really stop him. If you catch him, you're screwed by the other 4 people, because now they're doing what Blacklist likes to do, as you've pointed out, is kind of rotate as 4 and have somebody doing some split stuff.
I mean, they can't. They
But
can afford that. I mean, they
yeah,
just like look at that. It's just a full. It's just like there's nothing Blacklist can do at this point. Like the snowball has been secured, and it's even worse because they have a Foramus. So even like the gutsy plays aren't that gutsy because you have like a get out of jail free card with the Cult Altar. So it's like all those dives you're seeing is like it's allowed. Like it's it's in play for Falcon to
yep.
go for those things. And something else is kind of crazy. Like I know you're not too familiar. I mean, obviously you know Blacklist
Ooh.
and maybe a little Falcon, but it's actually interesting that Blacklist played like kind of default on their draft, how they like to play like the same type of formation and like the rotations. Because Falcon is actually one of their like quote unquote like scrim buddies. Like Falcon and Blacklist scrim a lot during the off season, like during the downtimes or in between events. Falcon is a very active team as far as scrims in between those powerhouses, and Blacklist is one of their common teams they go against. So they know Blacklist very well. Right, so the fact that Blacklist not only played,
you played yourself in that sense, you know.
yeah, like you run for something that you show Falcon all the time, and Falcon pulled out something that they may not have really shown Blacklist. So this, like I said, this is pretty unorthodox. This is a very chaotic draft, which is exactly what Blacklist struggles against. Is what I think any team should go up against Blacklist. If you can execute those win conditions on it. Especially if you have that early game aggression. I wouldn't try to match Blacklist in the later stages, that mid to late, because Blacklist excels at it. But in the early, you can definitely pick up the pace on Blacklist, and they did. And that drafting from Falcon and the execution on top of Blacklist, they didn't even try to adjust their drafting up against Falcon, a team that knows them pretty well from scrims. Like it was just a lot that factored into them losing, and it literally all goes to draft. Like it all goes back to the drafting.
Yeah, exactly. Itemization wise though, I doubt these people mess things up really. Well, actually no, I do have already something I don't like to see at all is clock on Xavier. call me elegant gems simp if you want, but definitely don't see the point of that item on him, honestly. I said it a million times, I'll keep saying it. Elegant gem, yes. Clock of Destiny on him, it doesn't make sense for me at all. Itemization wise, nah, not really. The Uranus is interesting, I guess the CDR instead of, I guess it helps on the brute force and the mobility and all that, but I really don't have much to say other than the Xavier. I don't see much problems with the builds except for maybe... No, even the Foramus' glowing one is okay, it's justified. The Dom Ice, somebody has anti-heal, that's good. It's from the Lapu, I would have expected maybe even the Martis to pick up a Dom Ice at that point, but it is what it is. Lunox build is interesting. It's meant for burst, and clearly this is the type of comp where you would build that, and so that's fine. Martis build is fine. I have no problems with that one. The brute force is popular in this high elo tier, even though we trash it every time. It's because of the mobility. In that comp over there, I've told you guys before already, high mobility is key to those comps. So in this case, it's justified. If it were more of a regular comp, you wouldn't really be building that. You would be building some different type of armor, or maybe even another attack item, or maybe a Bloodlust axe. It depends. But definitely it makes sense for this comp. Natalia is building Natalia things. Diggy's build is like copium, but that's not his fault. That's because he just doesn't have enough gold to do anything with it. And Baxi is trying to build that Dom Ice, but he had to get the Dreadnought armor to handle the Martis and the Lapu alone. And at the same time, he's gonna get melted by Lunox or Foramus, so it's not looking good in terms of like. Obviously, I mean it's 2 to 12. No need to like, I guess beat the same horse dead. But itemization wise, I think what I like to see the most is from Oheb and that crossbow and the DHS on carry. I honestly don't see the point of why. Actually, I take that back. The crossbow is fine, but the DHS, I know why people get it on carry, don't get me wrong. But in this type of comp against these types of enemies, it would have been better to rush the golden staff, because these heroes on the enemy side, they do not have a high hero HP pool. So any kind of damage coming off from you would have been basically on par DPS wise, if not better than DHS. So that's the only thing I could fault the carry build for. I would have definitely rushed crossbow into golden staff. Definitely would have got a lot more kills in my opinion, or at least scaled a little bit better. And then maybe rush that into a brute force or an Athena's. I'm not sure if they'll show the items again. That's why I'm talking so much here. But yeah, if you have anything else to put here, Deco, I don't think. I mean, that's pretty much it. Itemization is itemization. You either know it or you don't.
Yeah, no, I agree with that part. I mean, we spoke on that like off stream before in your server actually about how like DHS isn't even really a good item to rush in general, just because of like if you're going off the way the game works, obviously more HP is earned or added on additionally later on in the game. You know, when items are being picked up.
Yeah.
So obviously DHS gets more of its return value, I guess you can say, if you're picking it up later to be on time with that scaling as far as HP. So definitely like a golden staff would have been great. I mean, typically you see corrosion side picked up first item. It was a little strange.
Even that would have been great. Even corrosion.
Yeah,
I mean, you already have the crossbow.
Yeah, that's typically how it's done. So it was surprising to see DHS slotted first, regardless. Even if I don't know, only person that's really slotting DHS first item is Claude, but that's a different pick and kit in its entirety. Really think it's exclusive.
Yeah, pretty much. Going back to Xavier real quick, if I would have probably slotted the elegant gem and then rushed, not a common item, at least not at this stage, Ice Queen wand. That would have maybe pulled off a little bit more of breathing space for them because nobody has sprint on the other side really. So that probably would have saved them a little bit more in a lot of their engages because, I mean, let's face it, Xavier has really good application of these effects, these item effects. So it'd be kind of similar to how Estes, his skill 2, his ring works. It's very just hard to walk through it, in and out of it. So with Ice Queen Wand, I think they would have had a lot more breathing space. I mean, not when it comes down to it, but it would have at least slowed down the arrival of Faramis or locked people in place after they engaged a little bit more than if they had rushed the clock, of course. But maybe he was just trying to get damage out for his team. Again, he's one of the only damage dealers over there, apart from carry. But Ice Queen Wand, definitely, you don't lose out on damage. You get some sustain, and you get the effect applied there. So I think that's about all I can knock off for itemization wise. But yeah, definitely Ice Queen Wand, I would have said for sure, and Corrosion Scythe. Everything else doesn't really matter because they're just too far behind. So hopefully they build it up next. If we see the items in the end, maybe we'll go back on that. But other than that, let's just resume the stream. But yeah, I definitely think an Ice Cream Wand. I'm gonna keep repeating that because I see it so much more now.
It definitely wouldn't have been bad. I mean, I used to use Ice Cream Wand on Xavier. I'm actually personally a fan of it on Xavier. I know it's kind of frowned upon because he's a burst mage typically, and you don't really want to go for the utility. But like, there's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
For sure. And he has like with that Mystic Field, like there's great availability for the Ice Cream Wand, even like especially when it's enhanced, like it's even larger. The AoE is increased. Like you have a lot of application.
Yeah, and the cooldowns are really low too.
Yeah, they're spammable. He's literally spamming skills for Ice Cream Wand to come into play, and Ice Cream Wand stacking, and because Ice Cream Wand was adjusted not recently, obviously a little further back, but they changed that item as well, tweaked it up how the slowing effect works on it, so it could have came into play for sure.
Wow.
That's for a different time. That's for a different audience.
Yeah.
A little more on the item side.
It's still an analysis. It's still a valid point. I highly doubt it, but Blacklist, if you ever watch this, Ice Queen Wand Xavier definitely must consider, especially when dealing with this kind of comp.
New meta, busted broken items.
New meta, Golden Staff carry first, and Ice Queen Wand Xavier.
Please try.
Please try.
But nah, yeah, majority of this, I mean, from this point on, like kind of how
It's just
I
stomp.
mean,
I can
bro,
fast
like
forward
yeah,
if you want, honestly, because I mean it's not like we don't know what's gonna happen, but I mean, or we could just see how good they are at defending, as a team if they're doing the right things. But I mean, there's not much you can do when you
they
have this
don't.
much of a deficit. There, you can't really. There's no like playbook. They
They
don't even
don't
have the
defend
type
well.
of heroes to make a comeback with. Like, if they had a
No.
Bedang, maybe you could make like he just needs DHS to make a comeback possible, you know. But like,
They don't even
not,
have
not
the CC to be able to stop
no.
the like you can. They don't have an answer whatsoever. Once Mystic Field is out, like right there, Mystic Field gets used on Lapu. All right, they have no more CC.
Yeah, yeah,
It's done.
exactly. This is why I said Grok would have been great. Like just
And
Grok.
even on their defense, I think in one of the plays in mid, I think it's still this game. They actually, I think they grew. Yeah, it is this match actually. Yeah, because Venus tried to save him with Time Journey, and they did escape. But they went for the defense on the mid inhib, and they didn't really respect the availability of the Lunux play. And they got hit with a Ruby DD, and it
Oof.
completely pushed them off the mid inhibitor.
Not the Ruby DD.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? Actually, interesting enough, right? So Ruby DD, like that's a real person.
Yeah.
He's actually on the Falcons. Right now he's on the bench. He's benched right now.
Oh my.
Yeah. So he's
Tribute.
actually
Tribute from Zipex to Ruby DD. Tribute play.
which is and that's why like it goes back to the drafting. I was expecting like one of those picks. You have Xavier, Lunux, and Kagra immediately picks that come to mind. Now obviously Kagra wasn't going to be able to be picked up for Rams was already slotted in mid lane, but Lunux was still an option, and that's something that Zipex has been running. Lunux inherits as well, being a signature pick. And you have Ruby DD on their team. Like, do you not, it's kind of like one of those things, like, you don't expect maybe who's ever in is maybe proficient or
Mind games.
familiar with
Mind
using Linux.
games.
I don't know. I still would have read that. Like, they probably like using Linux. You have Ruby DD on your bench.
Yeah.
Whoever, someone out there is probably using Linux. And with an Xavier put into play, a Diggy, things like carry, because, Linux is a great answer to marksmen in general. That give you a hard time. Like you can take Lunx in the carry, you can take Lunx in the Claude, and you can kind of, you can.
The only marksman that can actually give Lunox any kind of trouble is probably Wanwan. Or maybe Kimmy too from the range, but Wanwan for sure. And that's if, I mean, obviously at this stage, that's probably why they banned her now that I remember. I recall correctly, they did ban the Wanwan on their side, so they know.
Yeah. But it was just, I don't know. There was a couple things that like there was so many misreads and misplays in the draft.
Your screen is about to go black for a little bit, Deck. I'm just grabbing another code.
Oh, you're good. But not yet, because like I said, I mean, at this point, it's just gonna keep going. Like they're freezing the waves. And, anytime Blacklist has a challenge, they get met with the burst. They can't be stopped, so it's all free. So yeah, it's just got all bad for them. All bad. You're just seeing Blacklist now and desperation, just sitting Balloon playing Balloon's tower defense at this point.
Code's not working. I'm not sure if the codes work for multiple people. It might only work for like one or two. Honestly, I don't really know. They just told me to give them out, so I'm just doing that. So
I'm just doing my job.
To victory goes to, or the spoils go to the winner, whatever the quote is properly said. But yeah, let's see
Whoever
here.
plays Ling and Fanny,
Yeah, fast hands. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. I don't know how far this match goes really, but it's not, from an analysis point of view, there's not really much else to do here. Yeah, they won. GG. When is the other one? After? Is it right after? Are they back to back?
Yeah, it's right after, because that's match 6 of the day, and they go into tiebreaker, and the first one was Falcon and Blacklist.
Okay, so okay. Is Falcon first pick this time? Guess we'll find out. All right, let's see here.
I have all the drafts written down, but they're all on my server, and I'm not looking at it.
Oh, okay. We have here. Let's see here. We have Valentina. Okay, so wait, this is Incendio, versus Falcon.
Oh, well, I think it's the one after that then. Yeah, because
I
the
was about to
last
say,
match
hold
was
up.
Blacklist versus Incendio. So yeah, it should be the next one then. Incendio, Blacklist Falcon, and then Blacklist Incendio.
There we go. Okay. Fast forward time. 10:49, 50, 10:50, 3 minutes later maybe. Okay, yeah, okay, we're there. There's the glue band again. Jeez.
Yep. Fire, man.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We have Fanny, Faramis, Eve. I'm pretty sure that's almost the same as last time. No, they had Joy last time. They had Fanny, Joy, and Eve. Yeah. Okay, so and then Joy's on the other side, the Wowen and the Glow. Okay, so the bands are the same. I don't think there's more commentary or analysis needed. Also, I forgot about our 10-15 minute break, so let's go ahead and take a quick break. Almost forgot about that. So yeah, time to chat. So if you guys, if you want to take a break, Deku, you can. Otherwise, I'm just gonna chat for about 5 minutes. If you guys have anything to ask about the matches, any comments, the stream, the channel, anything in general, it doesn't have to be related to this. Well, not for the most part, but it's a little bit time just unwind a little bit before we go back into brain breaking mode. But yeah.
I'll definitely sit around. I like talking with the stream.
Actual diamonds. Oh, you guys got actual diamonds from that? That's pretty good. Too bad it's only for like a couple people, but I'm glad they're working for the most part.
1K diamonds from the codes? Jeez.
That's a lot. That's a lot, not gonna lie.
I bought the pass and got the figurine.
Wait, with 1,000 diamonds? Damn. Tell me your way. Show me your way, sensei.
That's kind of crazy.
Sheesh.
Them codes hitting. I ain't gonna lie, I was expecting some magic dust.
I might have to like save these codes for myself, you know, just you know,
for testing reasons.
Yeah, for testing purposes, you know.
Make sure they're actually valid. You never know.
You know, there's a total of 3 codes only for tonight, guys. I didn't have more at all. You know, I saw, you know. Let me repost that real quick. It's not that far up in the chat, but I'll repost it just in case. Maybe I'll retitle this as well while we're waiting. Let me see here. Yeah, okay, here we go. We are currently break. There we go. For testing purposes. Yes, of course that. If I knew that, I would have had just sniped one. So wait, some people are getting, you know what I think, guys? I think the first person to claim it might be getting diamonds, and maybe like a dynamic code. And then the second person might be getting a skin, and then maybe you get less as like the more people that claim it until like it reaches a limit. That might be what's going on from what you guys are saying. No Ruby picks. I've been waiting to see some. It makes sense for what they're drafting, at least for Falcon's side. It makes sense that there's not a Ruby pick, to be honest with you, because there's too high mobility to be picking in a Ruby. But I can see Blacklist drafting a Ruby successfully. If they can probably draft a Raph or a Mathilda with a Ruby, that would have been great as well. Literally anything but Diggy.
The whole issue with Ruby is like, okay, like there's a lot of CC. But that's really about it. There's no matchups in lane that she just dominates. There's not many that she just hard loses. She'll go neutral, or she'll either lose or at best go neutral. And then there's no push capability coming out from her. There's also no backline access. And most of the creative plays you can get from Ruby are really only allowed with flicker up.
Yeah.
And I mean, typically you're not gonna really see her in XP for a lot of those reasons. And then so the only other option is really roam. and that's more so for like counterplay. Like, let's say like the enemies take Diggy, Ruby comes out to be a good pick because the I'm offended has low CD. It's like what 18 seconds at some point, and then obviously up against Time Journey, you can win out maybe against something like a Roger jungle, a Paquito.
Yeah, people that have to stay in there.
You can put it into Assassins as well. It's a little tricky, a little harder. You gotta be a little better with Ruby, but you can play it into stuff like Fanny,
You can
things like Ling, stuff like that. But it's just not a lot of places. There's already only one position to really slot Ruby, and then it's conditional. It's not something you just like, oh,
randomly
we're gonna go
draft.
Ruby.
You
Yeah,
can,
like
you know where I would think you could draft Ruby into? Any comp with Lolita, really.
Yeah, I can see that.
If you have a Lolita making the plays for you, you take a lot of the guesswork out of Ruby. Really. And, you don't even need the rotation type things coming from Ruby. Because Lolita comps usually don't need that. They just need somebody to stalemate the XP. They need somebody to keep the XP laner in XP lane, which is, like you said, something Ruby can do, at least.
I mean,
but
that works. I think that works only if you're going for, like, let's say, okay, so like typically you'll normally get that extra utility or like tank, whatever position only locked in the jungle.
yeah,
But like, let's say if you want like a damage jungle or something like kind of in between, like maybe like some type of fight or whatever, and then you lock Lolita, you lock Ruby, and then you lock something else. You still can lock something in jungle really and leave damage in the mid laner, and then you lock in some utility in the jungle. Then you have like a 3-man like front line or like utility or something to offer to your gold laner or your mid laner. So then
Yeah.
you'd be running like what I have to call a protect comp. And so you can basically like fight that front to back formation. So you can like leave engages to like Lolita, leave kind of like that mid range or like close to the hip of the damage dealers, the peel and like Ruby, and then whatever you have your jungler doing. Whatever they're either enabling or like adding to the composition for your mid and gold laner. So like in that case, I can see Ruby working. That's still again like it's specific.
It's very specific.
Yeah, like on your draft.
I want to see.
I mean, right there what you said is like Lolita, but Lolita is also conditional.
Yes, exactly.
So like,
double conditional. This, like what I'm saying, I think probably is best against Claude. Honestly, more than anything.
Yeah, could do.
But what I really want to see, maybe we'll see it later in M4. I want to see two heroes specifically. I want to see Badang, because I don't think there's a single hero in XP lane that can actually beat Badang right now, like one-on-one, mano a mano. Nobody. I highly doubt there's anybody out there right now. Like Vengeance,
I think
Badang.
You won't see him for the same reason you don't see Darath anymore. It doesn't the 1v1. It's you're not gonna have the 1v1 all game.
Well, that's fine. That's fine, because he doesn't need that. He just needs the thing that I've noticed, that I've seen, just from like the buffs that he's gotten indirectly alone from the crossbow. Just rushing crossbow on him is insane. You can force people to rotate to your lane to stop you, basically. That's the type of potential he has. And so unlike Darath, you can gang up on him and basically shut him down. You can't really do that to... I mean, you can do that to Badang if you really wanted to, but it's going to cost you a lot. And in this high-level play, I really want to see Badang come out. Like, I never thought I would have said it. We were trashing him last season, but these item buffs, just rushing that crossbow alone, along with Vengeance, plus the immunity to his ultimate that he got, is really, really making him shine. Like, side note, not related to this stream at all, but like, I really want to see Badang in XP lane. Like, maybe whoever picks up on that might snag a win from somebody that potentially might be a stronger team than them. So I would definitely like to see Badang's potential come out. And the other person, like I told you in off stream, is Odette, but she's way harder to make work than Badang. So I doubt we'll see her. But her zoning is insane right now. Like, her damage is crazy. Just damage-wise, statistics-wise.
I think Badang is annoying for sure. Like, I play a lot of XP. Obviously, I was playing a lot of XP in the last season. And Badang is like, he's weird. I always remember like facing off against a Freya. it's like they're not acceptable to be called like good or viable, but when you face them, you can get caught off guard. Um,
Chaos.
quite often against them. Like I don't. It's something about the picks. Like I still would never say like, oh, Badang and Freya are great picks, but I would say if you go into XP lane against them in the 1v1, you definitely need to be careful because you can quickly be the reason why the enemy snowball coming out from the XP lane immediately. But just to feel, because I did see some new people kind of coming out in the chat, but on the count, we are on a break, a little bit of intermission in between matches. We just finished up reviewing the group match in between Blacklist and Falcon, and we'll be starting up the tiebreaker in between Blacklist and Falcon shortly. We're just kind of
we're just chatting. We're
in the chat right now.
We'll get back into it in like 30 seconds or so. I just wrote down the code, the new code. I'll drop that code sometime when I remember. But yeah, the fourth code is a skin. I know that for sure. This is a separate type of code, so that's a skin. I'm not sure how many people can claim it, but just be on the lookout for that, guys. Other than that, we did explain the bans a little bit, so I think we're just gonna while Deku's like catching you guys up a little bit, I'll just skip to the next part, which is like the first part of picks.
I mean, like I said, we did already break down that first match. We've seen Falcon kind of bring out that dynamic drafting. They had a lot of pickoff picks and a lot of things to kind of throw off Blacklist. They had the Lennox and the Gold lane matched up against Oheb with the carry. They had Natalia Rome, which we've seen give Blacklist problems, namely from NXPE. I think even making Blacklist use it themselves in the jungle, putting it in Wise hands. So definitely some picks out there that kind of fooled around with Blacklist and kind of went against what they want to do. As far as securing their early to kind of transition into the mid to late game, Falcon did a very good job of picking them apart and pulling out the picks that you kind of need, those chaotic picks, as Zero called them, to kind of dismantle Blacklist's pretty systematic approach to drafting in their gameplay.
Yep. All right, so yeah, there's a fourth code for sure. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get back into it. So I'll just repeat a little bit of what I repeated earlier, guys. So, be stopping the stream at critical moments when the first ban, the first pick, the second bans, and the second picks, as well as any like big team fight that we see in game. We'll also stop it there, maybe even rewind it if we have to. We're going to be giving a lot of constructive criticism. Again, it's not intended as like a, any type of insult to the team or the player. We just got to repeat that. Make sure that people don't think we're picking sides here. This is purely analytical here. If mistakes are made, they will be pointed out. And suggestions, you don't just like point out mistakes. You offer suggestions like we have. And so at least if you're good at analyzing, you have to prove it in a sense by doing that. So, anybody in chat right now, I will only be looking at chat to basically put in some codes that you guys can redeem in game for some skins or items. I honestly, like I said, I don't know what they have except for this fourth one has a skin for sure. I'm pretty sure about that. But if I'm not paying attention to you guys in chat, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's that I'm trying to wind my brain back into an analysis mode. So it is what it is. Yeah. So here we go. In terms of picks right now, I guess like Deku said, the carry is just prio for whatever reason, but like, boy, I see a big problem already. You have they both have a really strong pick that was banned on both sides last game. Blacklist picked up the Benedetta and Falcon picked up the Valentina. So the stronger drafting pick of those two is definitely Valentina. It's probably why she got picked faster than the Benny, but it would have been better in a sense if, well, I guess it's not possible. You had to choose between Valentina and Benedetta. So, well, actually no. If they were second pick, were they second pick here? Do you know?
Yeah, they were second, but they took Lapu, who's
I honestly would have would have taken a Benedetta instead of a Lapu on the side of Falcon. If I could choose two heroes, I would have taken both Benny and Valentina because I know for a fact from math alone, well obviously math plus skills because Benny needs skills. I know for a fact that in the early game, Benedetta beats the crap out of Lapu, doesn't even let him scale properly. So we might see some of that. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't seen these matches, but from a purely analytical point, if you had both open and they were banned last game, Valentina and Benny, they're both really annoying. Benedetta being the type of hero she is, can make so many openings for your team, and Valentina can prevent so many ultimates from existing as a threat to your team. The grand equalizer of broken ultimates, basically. So in my opinion, the Mathilda is great as a pick. It's fine and dandy, but you must remember that Valentina is relatively squishy. So the Benedetta is fine. Don't get me wrong. She can be kind of chonky and tanky, take a lot of hits and stuff. But once again, I need to see some type of actual chonky boy in the jungle that can handle abuse from the side of Falcon. I need to see something like Hylos. I need to see something like maybe Grok on the side lane. I'm going to keep vouching for those two because I really think that for what Blacklist drafts, those are the two probably highest prio picks they should be picking for their strategies. Even if they go back to their Estes, those two picks are still very good with Estes. But other than that, Benny's a good in general. It's not like it's a bad pick. You really do need that chonky boy in the jungle. There's a lot of options that they can choose. We'll see what they pick. And of course, as a mage, I just hope that the mage that they pick is the type of mage that cannot be brush checked, or that brush checks, or that can avoid Franco's crowd control. So something like Kagura or Lunox from their side would be excellent, because Lunox ultimate is very annoying for Valentina to copy. Same thing with I'm not sure if I said Kagura or Lunox, but both of them. They're both really annoying to copy as Valentina. You don't really get much benefit from them, basically, as a Valentina. So that's really good choice. Does Valentina get the light ult or the dark ult? Depends on when she steals it.
I think it depends on when she steals it, but
regardless, brilliance would be, good, but like it's a selfish type of ult, can get you out like it does for Lunox, but I mean, come on. If you have Valentina there, I guess Kagura is what I'm vouching for here. I really want to see a Kagura, because even if like Franco hooks somebody, or if you get hooked by Franco as a Kagura, you can kind of like dodge out of that, or if you can interrupt Franco's ultimate by just like jumping on Franco, using your ultimate or anything. That type of stuff is really good. If you have any mage that's really slow at reacting, you're gonna get punished heavily by the Franco and the Valentina, because you do have a Terrify on that side. So it needs to be fast, it needs to be quick. You don't have much time to react here. So other than that, Franco, the only thing he's really going to have problems hooking is that Benedetta on her skill 2. But I don't think he's going to be aiming for her, right? So if you have that type of potential here, Franco's just going to be abusive. You can't really you don't have the type of mage to kind of push Franco away. Even a Valier would be good here too as well, because you prevent the dives. So I don't know. Lilia also works here because you just want to prevent the Franco's aggression in a sense. And even with Lilia's ultimate, literally absolutely anything to stop the Franco would work here. But since you have Mathilda, your options are very limited. It's either going to be Kagura or Lilia, in my opinion, for mages here. So take it or leave it, but that's my opinion so far. I don't know what they're going to pick, but we'll find out pretty soon, I guess. Anything else you want to add on to here, Deku, for these three picks on each side?
Nothing, but I mean the Franco. I mean, kind of got to know that's it was Natalia the last match, and now it's Franco, kind of like that wrench in the game plan. For Blacklist, it's another one of those picks where it's kind of like Franco's different with the fact Natalia offered a lot of the kill pressure in the early game and can quickly punish the rotations or maybe any bit of out of position placement for Blacklist. Franco was kind of playing Franco's RNG.
If you land the hook or not.
if he lands the hooks, like he lands the hooks, it doesn't matter who it is. Like it's a solid engage. It leads to a bloody hunt, which you just like, you know, you just can't escape. It's a suppression skill. It has to be met by CC, which Blacklist it has none of right now. And
That's their problem again. Lack of CC.
They don't take a lot. Yeah, they don't take a lot of CC at all. I don't know. They're really big or overconfident and underestimating their opponents maybe a bit, maybe in the drafting. But yeah, I mean, the Franco's like another thing's like if he's landing hooks, like it doesn't matter what the game plan is. If you're getting caught out by Iron Hook, if you're getting, you know, caught by a Flicker, Bloody Hunt, your game plan's out the window. You know what I mean? Like it's a guaranteed kill.
When you know you have such a hero that has such a strong ultimate, suppression is the strongest crowd control skill in the game. So when you know that it can be interrupted by any type of crowd control, I would be hovering hard over the Kagura right now, like just, you know, like literally like shouting it out. Anything that I could possibly say to say, hey, we need to stop this. We need some type of long range quick CC to counter this Franco. Like if nobody says it, somebody needs to say it. But when you're dealing with a hero, there is a counter to him. It's just exactly what I said: long range or quick type of CC that can just stop him. Literally anything to stop him would be great here. I wouldn't even blame them if they took like a Minstathar pick, to be honest with you, so that nobody can really escape once Franco forces an engage from their side. Because once Lapu goes in, it's dashes. Once Valentina goes in, it's dashes. That's two of them at least, 2 out of 5. So I don't know. That's definitely Franco can be counterpicked, but if you're too confident that you're fine, you're not fine.
No, we're not.
All right, let me fast forward to the next phase here, which I believe is the second set of bans, and I'll let you take off there, since I did the last one. Farsa. Oh, there's Harith again. Are they like Harith paranoid or something?
Well, no, it's back to what I said in like the first one. That's one of the gold laner for Falcon. It's one of his signature picks. The Harith is.
That's why you shouldn't do that as a team. You really shouldn't be doing that, in my opinion. At this stage, at this level, you really should not be. Unless you know that player has a very low hero pool, you shouldn't just ban out heroes just because that person is good at that hero. It's the world tournament. These people are the best at what they do. So when they have a deep hero pool, they're just banning one of their signature heroes. It's not going to stop them. So if anything, I think that's what's going to hurt a Blacklist going on. If they cannot stop doing that, that's going to be... I just, aside from the draft, their drafts lack a lot of crowd control. So if they can fix the lack of crowd control, AoE crowd control, and AoE damage on their side, if they can fix that along with the habit, it looks like a bad habit so far from just these 2 matches. I'm not sure from the other matches if they keep doing this. That might be effective if the person, like I said, has a low hero pool, but target bans at this stage of the game are very bad. Like they actually like have a very high chance to backlash on you. So yeah, no, I wouldn't recommend doing that in my opinion. I mean, I know Harith is really, really good, but I still wouldn't recommend doing that. Like honestly, if you're afraid of like the Harith, you should be considering, you know, like in your draft, you should have just drafted Kufra. It would have knocked out the Harith from the beginning, you know, something like that, and probably been a good answer to Franco, not gonna lie.
Yep. Oh, also, I don't know if you're done to whatever you're done with the screen's still black at the moment.
Oh, my bad, bro. Here you go.
You're good.
So yeah, that we're here at the band, so I'll let you take over there for the last 4 bands.
Yep, and I mean, I won't add on to the hair thing because I feel like you're right on that. Right on the money, target bands up against, you know, world-class competitors. Obviously, they're gonna have another pick that's either of equal or greater value in their hands. The Martis pick, I can see, gave them a lot of problem in the last match, but honestly, I don't think they needed it this time around. They have the Mathilda, so the disengage is there to kind of get away from Martis, which is really all you need to deal with him. So I don't feel like the Martis ban was valid. You also have Carry locked in, which, you know, Martis can't deal with the true damage from Carry, even with the damage reduction. You can't really, there's really no answer to true damage. It's true damage, right? Besides like stacking HP, maybe getting some dominance ice and, like, you know, staying in range of Carry to kind of nullify that attack speed. But besides that, there's really no answer for Martis to deal with Carry. So you have the burst, you have the disengage to deal with Martis. I don't think they needed to ban it out. Even with, you know, you have more mobility with Benedetta. No one's really going to get caught out so far from the side of Blacklist that you need or require the Martis bans. I think both of those bans could have got removed out of the way. I do think from the side of Falcon, it was a reasonable ban. Mathilda's there, so that does open up junglers like Fredrin that lack mobility, that Wise has shown and used already on the world stage and has won and performed with. So I think the Fredrin ban was reasonable. Same with the Farsa. We've seen Farsa, Mathilda be locked in with Haji and Venus from the side of Blacklist. They definitely like to run that combination. And whatever backline, I guess you could say, from the side of Falcon they might have been thinking about. Farsa, we do know with the feather airstrikes, is really good with dealing with those backlines, specifically those marksmen.
Yeah.
They may, but again, I think that's another ban too that could have potentially led through.
Yeah, it's one of those target bans.
Yeah, and it's like, because both teams have answers to those bans. Like, there's a Franco, so anytime feather airstrike goes down, Iron Hook is a threat to Farsa, right? You're standing still. You're immediately at risk to get hooked. And then you also have the Valentina. So if they take Farsa, you also have Farsa to an extent, which could also deal with Carry, because Carry likes to play, not even likes to, has to play kind of in that mid-range. Carry doesn't have a long basic attack range. So with a Farsa ultimate, you punish Carry anytime that Oheb would want to decide to step up for those fights. So I feel like that was maybe a wasted ban potentially. I can see why though, but again, it's one of those target bans where it's kind of like, did you really need to go for it? And they also had the answers, and I feel the same about the Martis pick from the side, or Martis ban from the side of Blacklist there. But Blacklist flopped both bans. Both of their bans were a miss for me. And then Falcon, while it wasn't the worst, it wasn't the best ban either.
I understand the Fredrin actually, because Fredrin has so much quick CC that it can actually be a really good threat to Franco's ultimate, just interruption ability. So
wait, that's what I said. The Fredrin was good. And
so I understand that 100%. So I agree with what you said. But yeah, the Farsa definitely feels like a little bit of the. It might just be a high level, high ELO bad habit to target ban. It might just be a bad habit they have at that stage. So, but we'll see. We'll find out. Let's see what the last two picks are.
Honestly, in
Blacklist.
hindsight, it's even crazier because it's Haji, and Haji happens to be one of the.
Is that an
In my opinion, I
Aldous?
think he's one of the players with the best. Yeah, there's an Aldous that gets picked up.
Well, like I said, guys, I
Blacklist.
haven't seen the matches myself. Deku has seen a little bit of them, but I haven't seen them at all. Aldous and Kadita. Okay, that's very ballsy, not gonna lie. Aldous into a Franco. That's very ballsy. The Kadita is understandable. Like, it's not the worst pick because, you know, she's immune to CC during her S1. A lot of escapes. They did end up picking the Lunox again. Like, so like you said before, they seem to like to pick the Lunox quite often. But in this case, it's actually very justified against the Aldous because he likes to target the mage or the marksman usually. And well, if you're gonna target something with, you know, Lunox type of ultimate, it's gonna prove to be very difficult for you in general. So, wait, is that a Granger too? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, I haven't seen Granger much anymore since he got nerfed, but I know he's been buffed recently. You can exploit the Granger with this kind of comp because you have enough breathing space to save him in a sense. You can try to lock onto the Granger, but it's equally risky for your team to lock onto him. So I guess for in my opinion, for the last two picks, I can see the Kadita working. I'm not gonna knock any points for that. because, you know, he has a petrify ability, or not talent, what am I saying? Battle spell open. You can kind of, you know, interrupt a lot of the engages or ultimates that Franco can have. It can work out for sure, for sure. But brush check wise, which is what you really need against the Franco, I still think Kagura would have been a better pick, in my opinion. But Kurita's not bad at all. Aldo's is what I would definitely not agree with, if anything, because of the Franco existing and the Valentina existing. You have a very strong combo there. Either Franco's gonna ult you, or Valentina's gonna keep you taunted when you ult and try to engage on anybody. And they were both already picked when the Aldos was unlocked. There's nothing really to scout out and catch lacking here, because they can actually focus everything around the Granger and, you know, profit. But other than that, it's a better draft for sure than last time. It's only the Aldos. I like, you can make that work. Like, don't get me wrong, Aldos is really, really strong if you don't have that type of engage over there, that type of like taunt. And if you do have that, you need someone able to take the initiative for you. So on the side of Blacklist, once again, a different type of roamer, or slotting those two last would have been a little bit better, because then you would have had the option to have your Aldos plus the roamer that could have made Aldos sets, you know, possible, right? So yeah, so I don't see a real big problem with. I mean, there's also let's be fair here. There's a little bit you can exploit on the Falcon side. It's not like the best draft either, but drafting alone, you do have a slight edge here on the Falcon. It's not as big of a gap as last time, but it is a slight edge to the Aldos jungle pick. Answering in terms of answering it on the side from Falcon, the Granger. Yeah, they could have picked a different marksman jungler, like possibly even Natan would have been really good here as well. So like, I know that's not common to see anymore, but even the Natan would have been extremely good to see here, because he has just a better DPS and range of mobility for the compared to the Granger. But any other comments, Deco? I'm gonna start playing it so we don't run out of time here, but I'm gonna start playing it. If you have any other thing to add on to those last picks here, otherwise we'll just go ahead and go straight into it. Hey yo, support! Shout out Blacklist, shout out Falcon. Let's see, let me fast forward a little bit, see if we can get to the match a little bit faster. Oh, there we go. And you should be able to see it, Deku. Let me know if there's any issues. Okay. Oh. Okay, that's really smart. The Lunox is helping the Granger, which obviously has a kind of a slow start out there. Okay, I like that. I like to see that.
Mission already coming out.
Wow. Early. Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. Benedetta, it really punishes Lapu picks statistics wise, and obviously, as you can see, Edward is proving that point right there. So I like the Benny pick. I like the Benny pick a lot. It just you lack a little bit of CC, not gonna lie, on the side of Blacklist.
That's also a short window, right? That's looking at it as a 1v1 perspective.
Yep.
Obviously, it's going to transition into like the same thing Benny does, minus maybe like the cutting.
Oh,
yeah, it's great. A great hook from Naomi into Terrify first blood there. Actually, I think they picked up a second kill. Yeah, Ken does pick this up with the Ice Retry, and that's the snowball start, right? Which is what you don't want if you're Blacklist, because they don't have an early composition besides minus like Mathilda, and maybe Khadid if you want to count that. And Falcon just did such a good job of
Oh, they're
capitalizing on
forcing the
it.
engage early game with Aldos. Okay, they get the Valentina though, I guess, and the Franco, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Nah, it's still not
It,
as good. The first blood went to the side of Falcon. A kill went into Granger's hand. A kill went into Mathilda on the opposite side, and then Valentina. Wise didn't pick up anything there. And then there goes the turtle as well. So, like, the trade is definitely going to the favor of Falcon.
and then here's what I was saying earlier. The type of comp that Falcon has excels at pickoffs. I mean, regardless of the Franco hook, like let's just assume Franco didn't get any hooks. You don't want to engage on them solo. You're gonna get punished heavily. If it's not by the Franco, it's gonna be by the Valentina plus whoever's nearby. So it's not the type of comp you want to be dealing face to face with. You're gonna have to face them as a group to take advantage of a better team fight. Like if you have the for example, Haji has the Kadita and the Aldos and the Mathilda. If you want to benefit from that, you're gonna have to do exactly just that, what you just saw right there. But then you have to disengage, you know, pronto, ASAP, get out of there. You cannot do that. You have to do group engages and group disengages. And it has to be like that if you want to have any kind of chance against this type of comp, because you have too much immediate response in the melee range, and you don't have much to answer for it on this side. The only person who can actually kind of do that, I would say, is Edward, because Benedetta is just able to dance around people like that. The only exception to that being Franco's suppression, right? But other than that, you know, you should feel free to, you know, go around and dance in people's face with Benny. I think Benny's become like the Esmeralda that, you know, Esmeralda in M3 is like the same slot as Benny. You know, you can just draft Esme into almost anything in M3. That's probably Benny for this M4.
Well, there's a difference in that too, is that it takes a little more skill set to maximize Benedetta. Esmeralda was a little easier to pick up.
Oh my goodness. See, you couldn't do anything about that. What are you gonna do? Get hooked and get killed by them, or just like go off your buff? So it's understandable. It's understandable. It's just like I can't even fault them. They're both playing really good. They're doing what they can. Oh, okay, that's a really good Franco hook, like predictable. But there's Benny doing Benny things right there, you know.
Well, there's also another thing is factoring in, like, they play Blacklist all the time. Like, I don't think they were surprised at all about where Edward was positioned, and that's Yellow making a bad play as far as his engage. And Blacklist, I think Blacklist actually won.
Oh, nice.
Turtle. Yeah, they did win Turtle. So they found a little something then early in them grouping up, but that was off Kadita finding the
engage.
Play. But that's all they have.
Yeah,
for like an actual setup for a kill is Kadita.
They have
it's done.
Yeah, so I go back to the Kagura pick that I said earlier. A little bit more breathing space, but Kadita's not too bad of a pick. It's just you needed something else to be able to.
It's not horrible, but it's also.
It's like, in the Aldos pick, honestly.
It got counterable. It got countered as well. Like in the first fight they took around that the river area. The first engage, Kadita actually went in. Haji did go in for a play, but Naomi was right there and hit the bloody hunt during that engage from Kadita, and Haji just ended up getting killed off right there. So like, it's not even like a guarantee if Naomi is there. Like it's easily stopped.
Yeah.
If Naomi was ready with bloody hunt, and that's their main engage.
Okay, triple engage on the bot lane. Same thing as the mirror reflection. Oh, okay, yep, there goes the Lapu. So
that's
this
why
is.
He's picked up.
You want to know what I want to say about this little engage right here, this little skirmish? It is a reflection of what they did to the Lunox the last game in Gold Lane. What they did it to Lapu, and the same thing happened where the Lapu pulled off. Not just in the case of Lunox, they not just escaped with their lives and cleared the wave. He actually benefited from that. He got a kill and a tower. So 2 towers actually, because they did that to carry up there. So I'm pretty sure macro wise, outplay wise, even from like a high level overview of everything, they tried to do it, but they couldn't do what they couldn't do that to Lunox for the same reason. They know they couldn't do it because they had that experience from the previous game. Holy crap.
That just happened again. I don't know if you saw it. That just happened again. Haji went.
I'll rewind it. I'll rewind it.
It literally happened all over again. So I said that their only engage is there's still counterplay there, just for Naomi.
So I assume they avoided doing that to Lunox again because of what Lunox did to them the last game. They tried to do it to Lapu, but they don't have enough crowd control to, hold him down long enough, and he's too tanky, for that. But I mean, it's not that bad of a decision. If you had to pick and choose between either decision, they did the right choice. I guess the Lapu just kind of surprised them. I'm not gonna fault them for the strategy there. That's the right thing to do. It's just, it sucks that it worked out the way it did.
It's bad considering they could have went gold lane instead of going to go gank a Lapu. Lapu's not the lane you want to gank. His passive's been buffed with Bravery Blessing in that Brave Fighter stance. He has a lot of sustain and durability now. And he was under tower. There's no reason to go for that gank. There's no play there. But
well, like I said, I understand why they did it. They just have, this is what I meant earlier in the stream by overcompensating. They thought their mistake was to engage the Lunox lane. That was not their mistake. That was the right call. They just did it too late. And here we are again. When they could have done it, they didn't. So it's the same mistake. It's overcompensated in this case. They said, no, screw the Lunox completely. We'll go and try to kill the Lapu. And well, obviously, they learned by now. They have a great team over there. So obviously, they learned everything we're saying. They probably already know. But as bad as it sounds, they need to focus on the Lunox. The gap in time that they have before she hits level 4. That's when you have to capitalize and make Oheb the force to carry you on from that point on out. I don't know if they're gonna go against Falcon again. But if any team wants to face against Blacklist, they're gonna take notes from Falcon's play, and just keep on. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So, unless Blacklist can, because Blacklist, let's face it, is literally the winner of M3. So it's not like you're dealing with people who don't know how to play here. But if you see this worked for Falcon, and you're up against Blacklist, guess what you're gonna be doing? You're gonna be doing what Falcon's doing, So it's prime time to realize that if anybody drafts that, you might even have to respect ban a Lunox on Blacklist side if you just don't feel confident in making those engages. So I don't know. Kind of like how they ban Ling and Fanny, like you said, because it messes up their strat. Lunox might be their crutch for this type of comp right here. But yeah, let me see what happens here. Like you just said.
Yeah, look at that Kadita play here. You can already see it set up, but Naomi's not caught in it.
Suppressed.
Yeah, immediately.
Can't do anything about it.
It happened on the bot side. It happened on the bot side when Haji went for the engage, and it's happening up here on the top side. Like the Franco pick was it was ridiculous, and Naomi played it so good. He played it so well.
Yeah, it makes. This is what I was saying earlier as well. You can't do much about the suppression unless you have immediate type of crowd control on your side, like a Grok, a Lolita, literally anything with crowd control, even if it's small.
There's no answer for them.
There is no answer to this suppression except the Petrify from Edward, and when you're,
he's an XP.
Yeah, exactly. He can't even be there. So or Aldo's stun. I guess you could say Aldo's has a little stun there, but he's not nearby. He has to walk. He doesn't have flicker. He's the jungler. But when you get suppressed like that, the response should not be to try and save Kadita. Kadita's dead. You're just gonna get snowballed because you have Valentina's Terrify coming in, and I see it right there. I was about to say it. If she has Kadita's ult, you're screwed. So I see it here. I cannot see a better way to play that, but I feel like if I saw Kadita got hooked or suppressed or near Franco, I would not try to save that. That would have been my best call. Let her die, take the L, and try to regroup, do something else on the map. But the worst thing you can do in this match is reply in the sense of, group up and try to save her. You can't. You don't have the CC for it. Oh my goodness. Oh well, they did disengage. They did do that, but not enough. Not enough.
Yeah, it was already too late at that point.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they just fell behind so hard, man. There's so much pressure.
Yeah, at this point, well, there's also like I don't have to pause it to say this, but I mean I can see it happening in real time. So like I said, I didn't watch this match. I know the results, but when you have this snowball already and you have the Franco doing this, yeah, you know, if they would have picked Barats, they would have had a very similar result to the Aldos actually, because they both need stacks in a sense. Barats needs to maintain stacks. Aldos needs to get stacks, and if you're risking getting stacks by going into these people's melee, you're screwed. So a good answer to Barats or any type of melee type hero that needs the jungle to survive, that's a really good answer to them. Force them into your melee in that sense. But if you're talking strictly about Franco in this sense, you have a very high risk of not being able to get anything because Franco's going to catch you out if he's lucky. Or if you're dumb enough to go in there, which Wise is not dumb at doing. You saw him give at every single point in time where he knows there's too much of a risk, he falls back. So Wise is playing the best he can with the Aldos pick. And there's the suppress. There's the suppress again. You can't respond to that. Just back off. Don't. It's too late. Benny got caught out. Okay, so yeah, Edward couldn't do much about that. Like, I'm not sure. Maybe he felt
Edward
like
could have got out. Edward ulted into them.
I see that. But like he still. It might have been a misclick at that point. Too much pressure. Maybe they said, okay, let's go. And they said, never mind at the wrong point. Oh my God.
Another great hook. Bro, that's the thing. RNG there. If Naomi's hitting those hooks, there's literally nothing that can do about it.
No, you can't do much about that.
Everything. Bro, he had good. And that's another thing from Franco's that, like, a lot of players, not on the professional scene, but, like, players in general, like, on the lower side of, like, amateur teams playing Franco, they don't, like, throw out the hook for bush checks. They like to walk into it. But if you throw the iron hook, not only do you keep yourself safe, but if there is someone camping that bush, typically that roam has a little distance in between themselves and the team. Like, that hook is going to lead to a guaranteed kill because the response time just isn't going to be fast enough to be able to catch up on and like secure like a safe disengage for him. Like, look, he throws it again right here. Another bush check. Right so there. And look at where the team is at. They're exactly like by the tower. There's no ability to respond to this.
And you shouldn't. You should just back off, let them have it. But you shouldn't be, this is high level play. You shouldn't be in these bushes trying to scout out like that, knowing Franco can do this. This is why I said Kagura so many times, because Kagura has that ability to check bushes. Even Selena, anything literally to give you vision on this Franco, or Natalia, this type of, like, it doesn't matter if they benefit most from the bush and they have a higher ability to punish you for checking bushes or being in positions where, obviously you're going to take advantage of bushes. If you have the kind of hero to prevent that from happening to you, that's going to be your best bet against somebody like Franco. And if Kagura gets hooked by Franco, it usually breaks her umbrella and stuns him momentarily so you can flicker out or whatever and have a little bit more breathing room, honestly. But that's why I was being, hammering down on the Kagura pick so much. I was like, hey, yo, Kagura. But no. To your point, I agree with what you're saying. I just don't. I see that halfway through the game, Blacklist realized that they cannot save anybody from the Franco. Once they're hooked, they're gone because of the existence of the Valentina, And Valentina is keeping up that Kadita ult as much as possible. So you're just going to get Uno reversed if you try to save them. It's going to be worse and worse and worse. So that makes sense. It's understandable. But to Falcon's credit here, I want to make sure that everybody who's watching doesn't go out and like randomly start drafting Francos here and there. No. If you draft a Franco into your comp, you need to make sure you have the type of mage on your team that can benefit from Franco's hooks and support him at the same time. Valentina is a great example of that. And apart from that, your XP laner or gold laner also have to be that type of hero. In this case, both are, because they don't have a marksman in the gold lane. But the Lapu is great as well. I don't fault any points for that. But the point I'm trying to make is you can't just randomly draft a Franco, because some people might even send somebody into you like a Minotaur or something like that to, you know, so counter engage you or counter the Franco pick or something like that. You need something that can completely shut down anything as a response to the Franco hook. So that's exactly what I'm trying to imply here. If you want Franco to be successful as a pick in this type of like high level play, you definitely need something to continue to keep the pressure or deter the enemy from trying to save that person. This is, I don't think I could think of any better example to show you than what Falcon's doing right here. So if you want to do that on your team, with your team, your own friends, make sure you're drafting something that can deter the enemy from even getting into that range. And that's all I gotta say. If let's say they had Harith on the side of Blacklist for whatever reason, you could even draft something as crazy as a Minthithar in the XP lane, and for those moments where Franco is suppressing somebody, you could literally just, you know, slam into there, or a Grok if you want to be a little bit more safe and legit. But literally anything combined with Franco could actually net you a lot of profit. It doesn't matter, as long as you can deter the enemy from team fighting you. That's all that matters, really. And that's how you draft Franco properly.
So you let this rock now, and really can at this point now I can just play out, because the next bit of the game is just highlight reels for Naomi.
Yeah. I don't know. They didn't show the items beforehand on Oheb. I don't know if he got corrosion before or after gold, the Demon Hunter staff, but yeah, Demon Hunter staff, Demon Hunter sword. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the Franco pick. Random. I guess you could take it as a tip or an analysis tip, but I guess it has nothing to do with the analysis, but it came up in my mind as I remembered it. But it's just, look at that. You just can't do. Okay, that's a good escape. It's just too much burst at that point. Oh my! He got away. He got away. That's crazy.
And so does King.
And killed him. Okay. I don't know what to say. I don't think that at that point, I don't think it's like, it's obviously good reaction. From they're playing, even they're doing some of the most risky plays, even as the winning side. I mean, it's not even risky. You can afford to lose a person at that point. But damn, that just shows you like the level that you're playing at right there. That's the type of plays you would expect only from pros, really. So I'm not I'm actually glad I'm seeing this for the first time on stream, because that was a really good play. I think that was one of the best recall. Wait, never mind. Let me help you real quick. Things from Lunox, not gonna lie. I really like that.
It's crazy,
Rip.
man. This is forced. This is such a forced engage. But I think they actually ended up like,
that's not too bad for a forced engage, not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Blacklist even this up. Oheb picked up a lot of kills, got a shutdown,
Wow.
got triple A. So it went well for them, considering how the match has been going.
That was actually, it could not have been better, really, unless you maybe had Edward survive. That's the best that could have happened there.
The trade went in their favor. They went up 3-2 there. So
Yeah. I agree. That was definitely a great play from Blacklist. Not gonna lie. I don't know how they pulled that off. Oh, they did a replay. Thank you. Wow. Oh, it was the Kadita.
yeah.
Ah. Yeah, there you go. No. Yeah.
Calculate.
Hats off to Hadji. That was an insane opportunity that he opened up for his team. Jeez. Okay, see, look at that. Okay, that right there, that what Franco just did, that's something that only could have been done because you know how Blacklist plays, though. What you said earlier, I agree right there. And Haji knows. Haji knows they're out for me. They're trying to kill me, but you can't. I don't think he even had mana to do it. He did everything he could to get out of there, but he was just out of position. It's just nothing you could do there.
No mana.
I appreciate the effort. Like, you're not gonna lie, he did everything impossible he could, but damn. double divine glaives. You're damn. That hurts. That hurts to see. Painful to watch, man. I'm actually a fan of Blacklist. So who are you rooting to win the whole M4, Deku? Never asked you. Who's your champion guess?
I'm a fanboy for my teams. I like Todak. Right now, Todak is one of my favorites. I'm sure people will be like, "What the Todak? They're trolls, da da da," and they're drafting. But I like Todak for the same reason that most people don't like him. I like their drafting. I think it's very unique. I think it leads to a lot of forced errors from the teams they face. And they're actually currently sitting up very nice in standings. They are uppers, so they also have like an extra chance.
Wow.
They're not going straight to lower bracket for a knockout stage. Who else? I think Echo is in a good position.
That's who I'm rooting. That's who I'm rooting for. That's my champion guess. I am the biggest fanboy of Echo.
They're doing really good. Todak, as far like a top 3, you'd have to be Todak, Echo, and Onyx. But I'm leaning more on the side to like going neck and neck. Potentially, those who could go for it is Todak or Echo.
Okay. That was a really nice petrify right there from Edward. Like that, but it's too far. It's over the game, but like still, I like to see good petrifies. You know, oh my God, Haji doing. Okay, like those are like skill level plays. It's just it's too late to do for them to be effective. But like if they had a little bit more gold, a little bit less of a stomp from the side of Falcon, that would have been like a counterplay, like a legit Uno reverse the match type of like, you know, crazy outplay that you would have seen. But yeah, dude, I'm rooting for Echo, bro. I'm rooting for Echo, and we had to represent NA, so we had to root for the Valley as well. I'm not sure how they're doing. I haven't really checked anybody, but I asked you, and you told me which ones are okay. So I saw a Blacklist. You know, I was like, okay, you know, this might be worth to look at. But Echo, I'm going for Echo personally. The Valley for NA represent NA. And in terms of third, I think I agree with you. I like to see Todak type of just they're fun to watch, you know.
Yeah, Todak's different, bro. Todak is life. Todak is love. Cuckoo guy's idol. I love Todak. I think their team is great. I feel like I don't think they get enough respect. Even right now, like they're doing great right now. I don't think they lost.
Wow.
Unless I'm mistaken, I have to go double check. If they have lost, it's only been one. If they did lose.
Okay, so the analysis part, guys, is done. We can just chat at this point if you guys want to. It's up to you guys. I'm gonna rewind a little bit, just random, to have something playing in the background and be looking at something. But at this point, we're gonna start to wind down the stream. We can talk a little bit if you guys want. Like I said, I wasn't trying to ignore anybody earlier, but we're just focused on what we're doing. We love to chat, but the stream has been going on for what, 2 hours now, so just wanted to make it, you know, clear and concise and to the point. And yeah, so that people who watch the VOD have a clear indication of what's going on.
Todak beat? Someone asked about. Todak's first match, day 1, they beat Malvinas Gaming. Malvinas is from Latam. Not really a crazy match to win, but they did beat them. And then they played Onyx Esports. I'm actually surprised if you didn't catch that match. That was the game where Todak ran the Hilda Rome and the Masha XP. And they went for the Chi strat, invaded Kyrie, and kind of shut him down on his Fanny. And they ran Onyx pretty bad. So that was their 2 matches from day 1, and then
Echo proud, Echo loud.
They play again. Let me see.
Did Echo lose? No, I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure if Echo lost at all. Let me change the thing here so people coming into the chat know that it's over basically. So yeah, if you guys have, like I said before, if you guys have any questions in general, it doesn't have to be about the analysis side of things. If you have any questions in general, go ahead and ask them. I'm paying attention to the chat now. We're back to normal streaming mode. But yes, your boys are
that beat MDH too.
Echo Proud. Oh, that kind of goes off screen. I'll fix it. Echo Proud. Echo Loud.
Todak is 3-0. Echo's 1-0. Echo's only played once, but they did beat RRQ.
They beat RRQ?
Yeah,
let's go Echo.
And then Todak won all their matches. Todak's 3-0. They haven't lost.
Holy crap. Shout out Todak. Putting in the work. Nah, wait. Wait, who did Echo lose to then? What?
They didn't lose. They only played one match though.
Okay. So they're probably playing two matches tomorrow? Question mark? Or tonight?
They're playing tonight, yeah. Group A and B played yesterday, but they're in group. I think they're in Group C. I believe Echoes. Yeah.
Samsung OP. Burn. I had high hopes for Burn. I'm not gonna lie. I really had high hopes for them.
Bro.
I had high hopes for them.
Coach Zico, like the way he was talking, because I think Zico was one of the people that responded to Zane with his comments he made before they got out there to Jakarta. And I don't know, it sounded like they'd be a little bit better. I didn't really watch them too much before the Worlds happened, but I did expect them to do good. I heard it was a lot of hype behind Burnix Flash. They were even like acting like Burnix Flash would be able to go like toe to toe with Blacklist. And I mean, at the time that sounded good, but given right now, going toe to toe with Blacklist really wouldn't mean anything because Blacklist is struggling against everything.
I'm in game right now. I see Falcon lost to Incendio, and Blacklist beat Incendio. Yeah. That's crazy. Falcon beat Burn. And who did they play again?
Falcon lost on their first day. Yeah, the first day Falcon lost against those teams, and people were starting to doubt them, and they looked bad, and then they came back the next day and they beat Blacklist twice in a row. So that happened. But they lost on day one. They didn't lose on day 3.
And Burn. Oh, they went up again. Okay, so is Burn 3 or 03 then?
Yeah,
but if I recall correctly, nobody loses in this stage, right? This what is this properly called?
No one gets knocked out, but they do. If the top 2 teams go up to upper bracket, and then everyone else goes down to lowers.
Who is MDH? I'm not good with acronyms here.
I'm not sure.
Is that just their name? MDH is just their name?
Yeah, MDH is their name. I think they're from. Are they Turkey? No, they're not. Are they?
Grok and Glue is such a disgusting combo. Well, that's probably why Glue is banned. But no, guys, if you see Grok and Hylos, let me know.
Okay, no, but listen. So out of the teams that went 0-3, like MDH is 0-3, Burn Flash is 0-3, and Occupy Thrones. But if I had to be like for real, I think Occupy Thrones is actually the best team out of all the teams that went 0-3. Occupy Thrones, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but their game against RRQ, they actually had RRQ on the back end. They ended up losing it off.
Occupy Thrones. But is that the Dragon one?
That's the Mina team. Yeah, that's the Dragon team. That's the team out of Mina.
Ooh. They're playing Echo tomorrow.
Who?
What'd you say the OT standard for again? Only Throne?
Oh, Occupy Thrones.
Occupy Thrones versus Echo. Let's go Echo! I'm sorry, but let's go Echo.
I mean, that's free.
Okay, the Valley has a really strong opponent.
They go against Team Hack.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say Hack is a super strong opponent.
I know a couple. Let me tell you guys the teams that I know about. If you mention them to me, this is what I know. Okay, so sorry, I think I had something caught in my throat. So I'm gonna go for day one, right? So of day one, the teams I recognize from last time / I know a little bit about. Blacklist for sure. I've heard a lot about Incendio. Honestly, I haven't heard much about the what is the other one? Second day. Sorry, I'm on second day now. Is it Akira? Yeah, RRQ Akira. But I assume they're really good. I mean, it's RRQ, right? So, but
Yeah, RRQ has
Malvinas
stuff.
Gaming, I know them from. They're from BR, right? From last time, from Brazil.
Yeah, they're Latam. Yeah.
Okay. So I remember their name, but I'm not too sure how they play. I've never heard of MDH, to be honest with y'all. Incendio, like I said, I know a little bit about, not too much. Falcon, obviously, I know about. I don't know. Before the Blacklist stuff and everything like that, I didn't have Falcon, at the top of anything. But I'm glad they surprised me. This is why, we are where we're at. But like, I'm glad. I'm glad that there's always something that I can't predict or anything like that. I'm glad that these teams come out and show me, that hey. And like you said, I didn't know at all that they scrim against Blacklist a lot, but
They
like,
sent BTK. That's actually how was introduced to the team. Is when BTK did that trip out. They were housed with Doggy, wherever they were at that time. They were scrimming Falcon a lot. Matter of fact, I think they scrimmed Falcons right before one of their matches that day, and they were talking about how strong they were. And I heard that Falcons has been around for a
wow,
while scrimming. The teams, they just hadn't really been competing. Yeah, but they've been around. Like all the big teams already knew them because they scrimmed all of them this whole time. So Falcons coming out and being like a strong team didn't surprise me. And this is something that people were like trying to call them a dark horse, because I don't think you would try to
nah,
claim Falcons is a dark horse. Like dark horse is a proven team right now. They're reputable. They're definitely a dark horse.
yeah, exactly.
I would find it even offensive if I was a Falcon that got called a dark horse.
Dark horse would be like RRQBR maybe, who we haven't really heard of over here in NA. Maybe.
Well, Akira is strong.
Yeah, exactly. You have the RRQ backing you, so you're not gonna be weak.
Well, no, not even that. Like they're actually legit strong. Like they.
Well, that's
like,
what
right
I
now,
meant by that.
They haven't lost in groups. Matter of fact, I'd even if the chat is reasonable. All right, we'll really talk about it. Hot take. I would have to say RRQ Akira is better than RRQ ID. Like 100%. Off the gameplay, the performances so far, RRQ Akira is a much smoother team than RRQ ID.
Well, of the two, the Valley games that did they play any other than those two? The Valley, I think it's only two. S11, right, and RRQ Akira. Pretty sure that's the only two that the Valley have played, but maybe there's a third one.
RRQ Akira played Team Hack in the Valley.
No, I'm talking about the Valley. How many of the Valley games are there?
Oh, the Valley played two. They played RRQ Akira and they played
S11. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so because I actually replayed the entire match with the one against RQBR, because number one, it's the Valley, so like again NA support, but I also checked out the RRQ BR Akira because I was like, hey, new team. It seemed more interesting, more like a use of my time than watching the S11 one, because I see RRQ, I know they're OP. So I wanted to check the BR branch of RRQ, and again, it's against the Valley, so I really wanted to check that out. And I agree with you. I dare say semifinals, RRQ Akira.
They're going top 6 for sure.
So
I'm putting Akira in top 6 easily.
But yeah,
RRQ Akira is better than ID. Like no one can change my mind on that. They're the much better RRQ, honestly.
RRQ Akira is the main team. ID is a substitute team.
Yeah, definitely. RRQ ID has nothing on Akira.
RRQ Akira, 0 professional losses. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Onik going on to dominate the MPL Scrub PM series character. Damn. I've never been a really big fan of Onik. Not gonna lie, I've always been like, I don't get me wrong, like I like their stickers and stuff, but like I've never been a really big fan of them personally.
Onik is stuck without Kyrie.
But
they're stuck, and Todak exposed that. They shut down Kyrie and Onik was just completely out of the match.
Are they having a BTK type syndrome?
no worse because BTK actually had other options. They had a Cardi, they had a Chicken.
Yeah, that's true.
They had more firepower. Onyx, like immediately once Kyrie was out the match, it was done. There was just no coming back. Todak
Wow.
exposed them so hard. Their whole draft was just to harass Kyrie, and they did that, and they were out of there. Onyx just got walked.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
It's always been the Kyrie show. You just need a team like Todak to take that draft. That's different. That everyone be hating on and say that they be trolling, which Todak ain't got no losses. Some people's favorite team, Onyx out here getting beat up by the
Onyx would work if they didn't have Agent CW.
The quote unquote troll Malaysian team.
Gotta be more like basic land retries without retry. But yeah, I really want to see. Well, it'll be probably done by the time I wake up, or maybe not. I want to see the Valley versus Team Hack for sure. And Echo versus, again, was it only Thrones or Occupy Thrones?
Occupy Thrones.
Okay, yeah, okay. So Echo versus Occupy Thrones. I'll get it right. Occupy Thrones, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Don't mean to butcher your name every time. I just really don't. I'm not really familiar with your team name. It's not easy either to see your logo in the game. So, but yeah, I want to see Echo. And so let me ask you the final closing thoughts for the stream. Let me actually move it on to the ending thing here, Deku. So closing thoughts, if any, let me read up on chat a little bit, and I'll tell you my closing question, I guess is what I should say. Agent CW reporting for duty, carrying Onyx to epical glory. Really? I gotta investigate a little bit more about Agent CW then. But the question I have for you, Deku, since you're more into the analysis of these teams than I am, I'm more of like I don't really mind who's playing who, etc., etc. That's not what I focus on. I focus on analytics. You know me. I focus on no matter who's playing it. This is the potential of this hero. This is what the draft. This is what's the best pick for this draft, etc., etc. I'm the biggest proponent of. You should never target ban somebody unless their hero pool is like 2 people. So that's the kind of mentality I have anytime I'm doing analysis. So let me ask you the question. RSG. I think they played in M3.
The Singaporean champions. Yes. What about them?
How strong are they comparatively? Like, okay, you got to scale them for me. The most people I'm familiar with the most, okay? Compare them to Todak, Falcon, Blacklist, the Valley. I'm familiar with the Valley, and Echo. Compare them to those. Where would RSG be kind of in scaling wise there? Because that would give me a good idea of the Echo versus RSG match. Like, because I really want to. That's one of the if they're really like, obviously no kidding. Obviously they're here for a reason. They're in M4 for a reason, but I want to know your opinion on Echo versus RSG more than anything. Like that's my, I want to hear that.
So just specifically that matchup.
Yeah, that matchup right there. Mm-hmm.
I mean, talent wise, I'll almost always give it to Echo just because they're a star-studded roster. They have a lot of individual players that are really strong. But RSG can definitely still play into them, but I'm not gonna lie. I think I would still have to give it to Echo. I would have to give it to Echo. I can't really make a storyline or a narrative that would let RSG be on top of Echo. I think Echo, like they're so strong. The only really Echo's one of those teams like they shoot themselves in their own foot. If they're gonna lose,
it's because they did it to themselves.
It's more than likely to be based off their own mistakes, which could happen, and RSG could definitely capitalize on it. But if I'm being very realistic, very serious, I think Echo's I think they win. They just win that.
Wow.
But that's not to say I'm not gonna say it's a walk. RSG.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here's what I'm asking. Let me rephrase that question then a little bit. Will it be one one of those like there's a couple matches where you're just kind of like biting your nails, you're kind of on edge. Oh shit, what's gonna go one way or the other, kind of like things.
Yeah,
But you
I
still
do
think
think
Echo
I
gonna
think we'll
edge out
get
a little
that.
bit? Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
think it'll be like a 3-0 sweep or like a
Sweet.
gentleman sweep. I think you can go a little bit of distance, whatever if they matched up in brackets. But if it's like the best of one, for sure, Echo's gonna win.
Wow.
And I think
RSG.
they win. I think they win regardless.
RSG. Listen. I might not know much about you, but I wish you luck. Like I said, I'm a big Echo fanboy, so Echo proud, Echo loud, but like you know, if you guys win against Echo, then the match you have against RRQ, I hope you win against RRQ as well. So if you beat the team I'm a fanboy of, I'll root for you for the next match. How about that?
If
So
they beat Echo, I think the RSG definitely beat.
yeah.
To be
So
like RSG struggled against Occupied Thrones. They struggled against the Mina team. If RSG beat Echo, RSG's definitely beating RRQID.
so
100% of my
so
pocket.
RSG people, if you beat Echo, by all means, you have my support against RRQ tomorrow or tonight, I guess, in like an hour or so. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Other than that, from the Intel king over here, Deku. Other than that, I think we'll close off the stream. We'll round it off. Thank you everybody for coming by. Again, I apologize for ignoring most of you during the analysis part of it. I know the actual way we analyze stuff is probably not gonna sit well with a lot of people, but it is what it is. It's the way we're doing it. I didn't see either match. I'm trying to watch matches, like all the Echo matches. I'll probably watch myself because Echo fanboy, but and the Valley ones because NA support. But other than that, I really don't like to well, not that I don't like to. I just don't have enough time to watch the other matches, so I rely on people like Deku, who basically make it their job at this point to do with exactly that. So, other than that, like I said, I apologize for not being so interactive with chat as I usually am. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys could claim the rewards. And as a closing one, I wasn't gonna do this, really, but as a closing one, I'll give you guys one more code. Okay, this is one of those that probably only has like a couple claims, so get ready. But I'll give you guys a final code. Even though I said the other one was final, but he'll be the final code for the night. And meanwhile, Deku can, I guess, go ahead and say goodbye. Again, shout out to Deku. His channel is pinned in the pinned comment. He is, as you can tell, knows what he's talking about. Just like me. Even if you guys don't believe it, we do know what we're talking about. It's rare that you see people from NA be analytical in a sense. As we are, but we are here. We do exist. It's just that we're trying to build up NA, and it's not easy to build up an entire region. It takes a group of people. So hopefully, if you guys see other NA streamers or content creators, you support them, and continue to grow NA as a region. Support the Valley; they are out there representing us. So at the same time, if you guys are closer to the Valley than us, and you see flaws in their drafts and stuff that they already know, that they can see, it wouldn't, hurt to, if you have that type of influence on them, tell them, hey, you should do this or you should do that, as long as it's constructive criticism like we've been giving. Like I said before, we're not knocking any team for the way they play in any sense, shape, or form, but a mistake is a mistake, and we offer not just what should happen. We're not here like, oh, they they did that. No, not at all. We're being very thorough in our analysis here, and hopefully you guys learned a lot from that. I'm glad I got to see the Franco being drafted, honestly, because it gave me that sidetrack of explaining how Franco works. But yeah, I'll hand it over to Deku now. That's it from me. I'll end the stream as soon as Deku's done with his remarks. But yeah, thank you for coming, guys. I'll catch you guys next time.
Ooh. And yeah, like you said, I'm gonna close that off. If you didn't know me already, you know me now. Coach Deku, also out here in North America with Zero. Obviously, like the name states, I am a coach a lot of teams. I'm also an up-and-coming caster, as well as an analyst for teams here and there. On my channel, if you guys do decide to check out the link, I definitely will be posting a lot of game analysis. I have a couple casting shorts up, and I'll be posting full games of me casting. Also host a lot of events. Recently, I did one at Mlbb PH Discord server, hosted a tournament for them. So you'll definitely see my face here and there, regardless whether you come to the channel or not. But it was a pleasure to be over here and break down this game with Zero for you guys, and look forward to more. We'll probably have some more things like this going on as well, but it was a great night. Shout out to everyone coming out, and I hope some of you got lucky with those codes, man. I heard they were giving out some great rewards. But yeah, that'll be my ending there. Thanks for stopping by.